A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Now, let's review the recent happenings in the life of Mary Sothern. First, Max made a series of startling promises. He promised Phyllis her operation, Daddy Stratford his hotel, and Dr. Benson the money for his clinic. Mary doesn't know he plans to sell his interest in Sanders to Gerald Proof so that he may make good these promises. Friday, as Max was leaving to meet Bruce, a car skidded into a tree on their front lawn. In the car were Jeffrey Barton, head of a large Chicago corporation, and his general manager, Wade Shaw. Barton is looking for a likely town in which to build another factory. Unknown to all the principals, this presents a strange situation. The thing that could save Mary and Max would be a business boom in Sanders, and here in the person of Barton is that very thing. Unfortunately, neither side realizes this. It is about an hour after the accident. Shaw has already said goodbye to Mary. He is in the driveway talking to Ruth. Barton is still on the Sanders porch.
Mrs. Sanders, I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate your hospitality.
Well, I'm sure I did very little. I mean, you sorry Reed couldn't repair the car.
It wasn't his fault. A broken axle is a day's work.
Oh, heavens, what is that noise?
Sounds like another auto crash.
Oh, gracious, that's terrible.
I think so. By the way, do you know these motorists, Mrs. Sanders?
Well, slightly. Jimmy, Susan, come up on the porch.
Hey, Mom. Love says a car down there was trying to climb a tree. And we didn't see it. Yeah, we had to be over in Bud's yard.
You seem to be reenacting the event very nicely. Mr. Barton, may I present the hopes of the Sanders household? Jimmy, shake hands with Mr. Barton. You too, Susan.
Whoa. Who are you?
I'm the man who tried to climb that tree.
Holy smokes, that was dumb.
Jimmy.
He's perfectly right, Mr. Sanders.
Did you hurt yourself?
Just a few scratches.
Woman said.
And your mother has them all bandaged up, see?
You're going to have to bandage two small noses if they don't stop being so inquisitive.
Are you Mommy Elsie silly? Of course not silly. She just wanted to pipe down.
Jimmy, you mustn't talk that way.
The younger generation comes right to the point, Mrs. Sanders.
What do you mean, Mom? What are you laughing at?
Just a little joke, dear. Now, you and Susan say goodbye to Mr. Barton and run in for lunch.
Are you going away, Mr. Barton?
Well, I'm afraid I must, young lady. I have to get to Williamsport.
How can you go if your car's broke?
Ruth's driving them over in his taxi, Jimmy.
You think we'll make it, Jimmy?
Oh, sure. Dad says his car don't look like much, but there's a lot of life in the inside.
That's encouraging.
Why are you going to Williamsport for, Mr. Barton?
Susan.
That's all right. And you see, Susan, I'm on the board of directors. And they thought it would be a good idea for me to drive down and look at the town for business reasons.
Say, are you a stuffed shirt?
Well, I don't know. What is a stuffed shirt?
Daddy Max says Muggsville on board of directors is stuffed shirt.
Jimmy, that's enough.
I wouldn't doubt if he was right, Jimmy.
Daddy Max is always right. Yes, he is.
Max Sanders is a lucky man. I wish I had two such loyal supporters.
He has three.
Well, I gather you didn't exactly dislike him.
Well, Mom's crazy about Daddy Max.
You're putting your mother on the spot, Jimmy.
Golly, like a D-man?
Just like a G. Mrs. Sanders, these little tykes of yours are frightening.
Don't encourage them, or goodness knows what they'll say. Now tell Mr. Barton goodbye and scoot into it.
Well, so long, Mr. Barton.
Bye, Jimmy.
Bye.
Bye, Susan.
Thank you, the table, Susan.
There's nothing like children to make a home.
To make a home exciting. They keep you on your toes every minute.
I suppose they do, but it's worth it.
Yes.
I want to thank you again for your kindness. It's seldom one finds the hospitality you've shown us.
Well, I think you'd find it the same any place in Sanders. We try to apply the golden rule here.
Judging from experience, I'd say you do.
Oh, that must be Rube. You'll have to forgive Rube. He's not a regular chauffeur. He's liable to take it upon himself to tell you when to start and stop.
It's high time somebody started me. I can't seem to break away from such pleasant company. Well, thanks again. And goodbye.
Goodbye, and the best of luck.
Say, I'm a book salesman, Susan. Well, I ring your doorbell. And say, then you buy books. Come in. Good morning, madam. Would you like to buy some books today? Oh, yes, sir. Oh, here's one with a lot of writing on it. Haven't you any with pictures? No, I guess not, Susan. They're just a lot of old papers.
Jimmy, what are you doing?
A playing book salesman, Mom. Only the books haven't any pictures. They're just a lot of old papers.
I suppose you've been in Daddy Max's desk again.
No, Mommy,
You just better skedaddle to your luncheon.
What you got, Mom? Hey, Mom, I said, what we gonna eat? Mommy, Jimmy's talking.
Jimmy, where did you find these papers?
On that folded leather thing on the table.
Oh, darling, that doesn't belong to us. It belongs to Mr. Barton.
Look at it. He must have forgot it. Hey, Mom, what's the matter? What's it say on that paper you're reading?
They do happen sometimes. Miracles do happen.
What are you talking about, Mommy? Does it say that on the paper?
Almost. Oh, darling, this may solve everything. Oh, for Max were home.
Where did Daddy Max go?
I don't... Yes, I do, too. He must be with Mr. Proust. Mr. Proust told me he expected him. I'm going to phone right away.
Can I take a look?
No, I'm calling, dear.
Max, Mother, please.
Oh, I hope he hasn't done anything impulsive. Hello. Hello, Miss Hawley. Will you get me Sanders 135? Thank you.
Can I talk to Daddy Max? No,
No,
I'm
not
going
this time, sweet. Mommy has something very important to tell Daddy Max. Oh, only I can wait. Oh, dear, why doesn't someone know?
Poor Mary. There she is on the other end of that line, trying desperately to reach Max. She's evidently discovered from the papers in Jester Barton's briefcase that he's seeking a factory site. What a chance that would be for Max. New business in Sanders is exactly what he needs to regain his footing in the town.
Adventures in time and space, transcribed in future tense. Dimension. Can you predict what will come in 100 years, or in 10, or in the next minute? Some people think they can. Nuclear science, mathematicians, astronomers, biologists. They'll predict the shape of the future because they make the future. Because they see beyond the known dimensions of time and space into the unknown, Dimension X. We go ahead now in time to 1965. We're on a vast concrete runway set in the desert of the Southwest. A giant metal ship stands before us, prow pointed for the stars. And in 5 minutes, the signal will flash, and it will tear up through the atmosphere to the outer limits.
Attention. Clear field for takeoff. Clear field.
5 minutes, Steve.
For takeoff.
Warm her up, Charlie. I want to go over procedure again, Steve.
Don't worry, I got it straight.
We'll just make sure.
Okay. I take her up on jet to 50,000, then I cut in the rocket.
No lower, or your tail blast will burn out 3 counties.
I climb 4 minutes on rockets, then start maneuver test.
Remember that, no more than 4 minutes.
Right.
This ship isn't like those strata rockets you've been testing. She's the first one built for outer space. If she works, she can go clear to the moon.
If I'd have known that, I'd have brought my toothbrush.
No, not this trip. Now get this, Steve. You've got power there to clear the Earth's gravitational field. But remember, after you cut in the rockets, you've only got 10 minutes fuel. If you go beyond the outer limit and don't save fuel for the return...
I know, I won't get down again.
That's right, Steve. You'll drift off into space. Get that now. 10 minutes fuel.
Gotcha.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, this project is a lot more important than that cosmic ray bomb they're testing out in the Pacific tonight.
The Security Commission brass doesn't think so. I don't see any undersecretaries under anything.
Don't worry. In the long run, our ship will make the CR bomb back-page stuff. But in the meantime, it's just as dangerous. Remember, half the principles in this ship are pure theory, Steve. Slide rule stuff. If anything goes wrong, we may have to scrape you off the landscape with a soup spoon.
You have a charming sense of humor.
Now, here's what I'm getting at. We're risking your neck in this test. If anything blows, we don't want to have the next man pull the same boner.
I know, Hank.
So keep your mic open and keep talking. If anything goes wrong, we want to know exactly why. And we won't be able to ask you. Let us know before you pull every switch. Before you do anything. You got that?
Yeah.
Even if you only have to blow your nose.
All right, get those fuel lines away.
Okay, bro.
Well, I guess that's about all, Steve.
That reminds me. Look, if Mary calls, I'm just up on a milk run. I didn't tell her today was it.
How is she?
She's okay, but she's due about now, and I don't want her to be nervous.
Hey, I didn't know the baby was that close.
Yeah?
Steve, I really ought to be sending a single man on this job.
What, and cut me out of a soft paycheck? Forget it, Hank. You know you can't get anybody else who can take 15 G's acceleration when those rockets cut in.
Yeah, I know. It's time, Steve.
Yeah. Well, see you later. Don't worry, Hank. I'll sweat for both of us. Button her up, Charlie. So long, Hank.
So long. We'll give you the light from control. Okay, Steve. Got you on the speaker. I'm ready to go.
Mr. Hanson.
Ready on radar, Sergeant?
Mr. Hanson, you better see this.
What is it, Elsa?
Message sent for Steve. Mrs. Weston just left for the hospital.
What? Hello, Steve.
Yeah.
Stand by a minute.
Shall we hold the takeoff, Mr. Hanson?
What? Oh, yes. No, wait just a minute. It's too late now.
You going to tell him?
Maybe he's got enough to worry about.
Hey, what's holding us up, Hank? Something on your mind?
No, it's nothing, Steve. I just wanted to say good luck. Clear for takeoff, Charlie?
Right.
Okay. Give him the light. All right, Steve, I'm reading you clear.
20,000. Airspeed 600. She's running fine. Soundproofing works. There's a third-degree waiver in the AGY pressure.
Got that, Charlie?
Check. Dead center on radar, Mr. Hanson.
50,000 now. Cutting out the port jet. Now to starboard. Off jet. Airspeed dropping. Opening the rocket ports. Switch sticks a little, Charlie. Maxing out to all pressure at 350. All right, now I'm advancing the ignition key. Here goes rocket one.
Steve, you all right?
Yeah. Looks like somebody snuck in with a sledgehammer. Airspeed now 1,200. Here goes number two. Hello, Steve. Elapsed rocket time is now 4 minutes. What's your altitude? Over to you.
Speed 4,400. Still climbing. Altitude 297 miles.
All right, you're at the outer limit. Level off for maneuver test. You've got exactly 6 minutes fuel left.
Okay. Starting a 3-degree left bank. It's a little sluggish. That's all right now. There's a low vibration someplace. Maybe the cockpit hatch. Now I'm straightening out.
5 minutes fuel left.
Now I'm starting a 3-degree Hey!
What's the matter? What's wrong?
There's something up here. Something shining.
What are you talking about?
There's something above me, Hank. I'm going to chase it.
Steve, you're at the outer limit now.
I can see it plain now.
Steve, don't go any higher. You've only got 4 minutes left. You've only got...
Getting static. I can't hear you, Hank. It's dead ahead now. I'm going to make a pass at it. Get a good look. Hey, it's swerving to meet me. It's dead ahead now. It's dead ahead.
Hello, Steve. Steve, come in.
9 minutes, fuel gone.
Still no sign on radar.
Hello, Steve. Steve, what's happened? Charlie, get out the crash squad. Tell the Army squadron to alert their search planes.
Right.
9.5 minutes gone.
Hello, Steve. What's happened? Who the devil is it?
Charlie,
Hello.
for Mr. Hanson.
Come in, Steve.
We need a search squadron.
Come in.
No, Mr. Hanson's busy.
Hello, Steve.
10 minutes, Mr. Hanson. That's the end of his fuel.
How long's it been now?
10 hours, Mr. Hanson.
Nothing more on radar, Sergeant?
Screen's blank.
Colonel Corelli called in. Search planes are back. They didn't find anything.
Should be some trace.
Couldn't have bailed out, could he?
You don't hit the silk at 4,400 miles an hour. Either went past the outer limit, ran out of fuel. Something blew, and we'll find the pieces scattered from here to the coast. Why does it have to be the best man? Always the best man.
I'll get it, sir.
Charlie, we've got to figure out what was wrong.
All right, I'll tell him.
Something must have blown. Yeah?
There's a message from Northside Hospital for Steve.
Oh, what is it?
Mrs. Weston's fine. It's a boy.
Thank you, Elsie. It's a boy, Charlie.
Oh.
Fine. It's a boy. He didn't even know she went to the hospital. How am I going to tell Mary that?
Wasn't your fault, Mr. Hanson. Ship had to be tested.
Yeah, we'll build another one, and some other flying fool will shoot past the outer limit into space. Oh, I'm getting old, Charlie. You can remember when I used to take him up myself. Now I've got to send other men.
It's a job, Mr. Hanson.
Now I'm afraid. Every time I hear a jet go off, I jump. Every time I have to send someone up in a new model, I start to sweat.
Mr. Hanson.
Yeah?
I think there's something on the radar.
No flights scheduled in, are there, Elsie?
We have the whole day cleared.
It's coming in behind her. Here it comes over the building.
What crazy jockey is buzzing the field like that? Is that an Army plane, Charlie?
I can't see. It's turning.
Charlie, alert the field.
I know that engine. Steve.
That's impossible.
Look, that's his ship.
It can't be.
Well, there's no other model like that. It's Steve, all right. He's coming in.
Thank God. Thank God. All right, sit down, Steve. The quicker we get this done, the quicker you get over to see Mary and the baby.
Hank.
Elsie, give the order to check and refuel the rockets. I don't want anybody in here till I get Steve's reports. Bury any calls. All right, let's have it. What the devil happened to you?
Hank, does that cosmic ray bomb still go off tonight?
What are you talking about? Straighten out, Steve. Where you been for the last 10 hours?
Listen, Hank, there's something more important.
Come on. I've got to get a report on the screen to Washington, so let's have it. I've got to know how you stretched 10 minutes fuel to keep you in the air for 10 hours.
Now, one thing before I talk.
Look,
have the
Steve.
Geiger men run over the ship before they refuel.
What'd you run into?
So help me, Hank, I don't know. But we better check and make sure it isn't radioactive.
Elsie, add a Geiger report on the standard check. Steve, maybe we better have the doc look you over, too.
No, I'll be all right. They said I'd be all right.
They? Look, son, I know you've had a tough time, but we've had this field on the alert for 10 hours. One of the Army boys cracked up looking for you, and he's hurt bad. So let's have the story. Let's have it straight.
I don't know how to tell you. Hank, I saw something up there.
At 300 miles?
I chased something up there, Hank, and I caught it.
Now, don't hand me that,
Listen,
Steve.
I was cruising along, just starting the right bank, when I spotted something. It must have been going about half my speed. It was egg-shaped and smooth. I made a pass at it, and I was coming back for another, and then there was a humming sound.
Humming?
A sort of vibration. And I blacked out. I was headed straight for it at 4,400 miles an hour. I thought it was going to be the biggest smash since Hiroshima, and I guess they were drinking that bottle.
Never mind that, Steve. What happened?
I came to inside their ship.
Uh-huh. Steve, this whole thing has been a devil of a strain on you. I'm going to call Major Donaldson from the Army base. Ask him to sit in.
The psychiatrist? Yeah, that's a good idea. Let him run his tests. He'll tell you I'm not kidding. Because, Hank, unless I miss my guess, I've just been tipped off to the way the world ends. Mr. Weston, suppose you continue your story.
Yes, let's have it, Steve. You woke up inside the ship?
Yes, and the place was jammed with machinery. Dials, blinkers. I couldn't recognize anything.
And you were surrounded by these men from Mars?
I didn't say anything about men from Mars. I didn't even say they were men. I couldn't see them clearly. They were just there.
Where did they come from, then?
Another galaxy. Millions of miles outside of our solar system. That's all I know. You figure out where they came from.
And they came all that distance to find the Earth?
Yes.
Did they tell you that?
Yes.
You mean they spoke English to you?
No, they didn't. It's funny. I hadn't thought. They didn't really speak to me at all. They just planted the thoughts in my mind.
You mean thought transference, telepathy?
Yes, that's right.
Well, Steve, what brought them here?
We did, Hank. We rang their bell. We brought them in.
Well, how?
With our atomic explosions. Hank, that's why you've got to stop that bomb test tonight.
I'll give up.
Look, you've got to believe me, Hank. Oh, how can I make you understand?
Maybe I can help, Mr. West. Would you submit to narcopsychometry?
What's that?
Under proper drugs, I can put you back in this, ship. By suggestion. Then we can get a playback record of your memory pattern on the audio circuit.
And how long will that take?
Half an hour. We'll have to go over to the lab.
Will you believe me if it checks?
It will give us an accurate memory picture of what your mind reports.
All right, let's go. Hank, you got to believe me. We haven't got much time.
You should be getting drowsy now. Count backwards from 10.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6.
He's under. Now we attach the head plate electrodes. The cortical pickup. Look out for that wire, Mr. Henson. 3-0 setting. 31.3. Now throw that switch, Mr. Henson. I have to start him off by suggestion. All right, Steve. You're in your ship now. You're in the rocket. You're in the rocket. You're in the rocket. And you've just sighted something strange.
Now I'm starting a 3-degree right.
What's that?
Hey, there's something up here. Something shiny.
His memory pattern. We're picking it up electronically.
There's something above me, Hank. I'm going to chase it.
It's piped through the audio circuits.
I'm getting static. I can't hear you, Hank.
This is where we lost contact with him.
I'm going to make a pass at it and... Hey, it's swerving to meet me. It's dead ahead now. It's dead ahead.
Now what?
This is where he blacked out. There's no telling how long, minutes or hours.
What's that noise?
I don't know, quiet.
Where? How did I get in here? What? Who are you?
Is he seeing things?
Intergalactic Patrol. What's that?
What are they saying, Steve? What are they saying?
It's about nuclear fission. They know about it. They know the danger of it. Long ago, they had wars that almost destroyed them. But finally, they learned. Now they've outlawed war.
Go on, Steve.
They patrol space. When their detector picks up an atomic explosion, they send a patrol.
What are they going to do?
They've quarantined us.
Quarantine?
They've isolated the Earth. Because we don't know how to control ourselves yet. Until we learn, we'll be a menace to the whole universe.
What is this nonsense?
Quiet. How are they going to do it, Steve?
They've spread a layer out here of... I don't know how to call it. All around the Earth. It's miles deep. When there's an atomic explosion on Earth, the radioactive particles will drift up to this layer and set off a chain reaction. It'll go around the world in microseconds. And that's the end.
The end? What's he...
Wait.
Yes. Yes. I understand. I've got to bring back the warning. You're going to put me back in my ship to bring the warning.
Now what?
Blacked out again. I guess that's all.
What does all that mean?
It's what he remembers.
Don't think that really happened.
No. Narcopsychometry circuits produce what he remembers. It just means that Steve believes this happened.
I don't like to see this. I've seen too many top pilots snap. Steve is the best I've known. How bad do you think he is?
Frankly, outside of the presence of this well-organized hallucination, there's no sign of unbalance. May not be too serious. If he had a more plausible story, I'd be inclined to believe him.
Warning. Hank.
It's all right, boy.
Did you hear it, Hank? You understand?
Sure. We've been quarantined.
Let me give you something to make you sleep, Steve.
Don't you understand? They fixed it so that if we set off one more nuclear explosion, that'll be it.
Of course. Don't hold your sleep down.
You don't believe me.
Now, take it easy, Steve.
But the test tonight. They're setting off the CR bomb. Hank, what time is it?
11:20.
Well, it's scheduled for midnight. Hank, we gotta stop that bomb.
Steve, let Donaldson give you the hypo.
Hank, you've gotta believe me. I saw them. I got the warning. If we touch off that bomb tonight, it'll be the biggest galactic 4th of July of all time. The whole Earth will go up like a Roman candle. April 10th, 1965, the end.
Now, look, Steve, you better calm down. Don't you want to see Mary and the baby? You've got a new son, remember?
Yeah, that's just it, Hank. I want to see my son. I want him to live. If that bomb goes off, Hank, we've got to stop them.
Mr. Hanson, I think we'd better get over to the base hospital.
Hank, you've got to believe me.
Sure, Steve. Maybe there is something to it. Look, it's out of your hands. I'll put it in a report and shove it into Washington in the morning.
In the morning? There isn't going to be any morning, Hank. Don't you understand? You've got to call Washington now. Get the head of the Security Commission and postpone that test.
Now, you know I can't do that, Steve. My neck would be out a mile. Besides, this is 1965, not 45. 20 countries have atomic bombs now. What's the use of stopping just this one? The rest will keep right on popping them.
Well, we'll have to call an international conference. Can't you understand, Hank? The first one that goes off finishes us at the end. They've given us the quarantine warning.
Steve, I think you'd better go with us to the base hospital.
Look, Steve, we can call up for a detail if we have to.
All right. I'll go with you. You don't need a straitjacket.
That's the way, Steve. You'll probably feel better by morning. Let's go.
Well, Steve, tomorrow I'll drive you over to the hospital to see Mary and the kid.
Sure.
Look at the ship under the floodlights. Pretty, huh? You'll be flying her again soon, don't you worry.
Yeah, I guess so. What you doing out in the line? They fuel her?
Yeah, we got Clausewitz coming in tomorrow from Denver for another test. Figure we'd give you a day off.
That's good. That's
Why? Steve, come back. Come on, Donaldson. Steve, wait.
He's heading for the rocket. Look, there he goes up.
That crazy fool. We can't get at him now. That covers armor glass. He's waving. Yeah, towards control. It's the radio. He needs a radio. Come on.
I should have gotten help.
The radio's still hooked up here. Hello, Steve.
Listen to me, Hank. You gotta call Washington now.
Come out of that rocket, Steve.
I'll call my men.
Don't try anything, Hank. They refueled the rocket for tomorrow.
Take it easy, Steve.
Listen, you know what'll happen when I fire the rocket tubes down here?
Steve, don't.
It'll burn out every building for 5 miles. All of us in one big blast.
Steve, what do you want?
You've got to stop that bomb. You got to call Washington right now.
They won't believe me.
You make that call or I cut in the rocket. Now, I mean it, Hank. Now, hook my screen to yours in parallel. I want to see exactly what you're doing.
All right. Just don't fire those rockets.
Get going, Hank. You got 12 minutes to make that call and stop that bomb.
All right, I'm making the parallel hookup right now. Donaldson, you think he'll really blast?
I don't know. Up to now, I'd almost say it was normal, but now he's liable to do anything, Hanson.
Steve, there, you getting it on your screen?
Yeah. Now, put that call through.
All right.
Operator.
Business screen to Washington.
The business screen circuits are busy, sir. If you'll try again in half an hour.
This is Security Commission priority. Break in, get me a line.
Yes, sir. Just a moment, please.
10 minutes, Hank.
Listen, Steve, I'm trying.
We're ready to take your call, sir.
Washington, Security Commission 3. This is urgent. I want Undersecretary Herbert Ames.
Washington 3. 1 moment, please.
Hurry, will you?
1 moment, please.
What time is it, Donaldson?
11:51.
Do you think he'll fire those rockets?
He might.
Washington?
Business screen 3. Mr. Herbert Ames, please.
That is a coded exchange. I cannot accept your call without clearance.
Get it through, Hank.
Listen, Washington, put it through. This is Mr. Hanson at San Marco Air Base. This is a priority call. I'm coded.
1 moment, please. I will check your code number.
Get that through, Hank, and that bomb goes off at 12.
Will you be reasonable, Steve?
Your call has cleared, San Marco. Washington, business screen 3. Herbert Ames, please.
Security Commission Ames.
Listen, Ames.
Hello, Hank.
Ames, you got to get me to the chief.
Are you kidding? He's at the test control room.
Yes, I know, but get him for me.
What's up? You look lousy. Or is it a bad circuit?
There's no time. I've got to get him before the test. It's about the CR bomb.
I can't take that responsibility.
Get that through, Hank. Right flag.
What's going on there?
Ames, my project has a high enough rating. This was a priority A call.
What? Okay, it's your neck. I'll try to get him for you. He's in the control room, so you'll have to switch off your screen and speaker and go on earphones. Too much going on in there. Security ruling.
You hear that, Steve? I've got to cut the incoming screen.
All right, but don't try anything. 8 minutes, Hank.
Hello? Hello? What?
You got him, Hank?
Yes. This is Hanson at San Marco. No, sir. Priority A request to cancel the bomb test. No, I'm serious. This is deadly serious. We sent the X2 JTR up today to the outer limit. We uncovered evidence. Yes, on the automatic instruments. What's that? No, possible chain reaction. No, I can't tell you the whole story. There isn't time here. Yes, I'll bring the readings into Washington in the morning. You've got to postpone the test till you see them. Look, I've worked on contracts with the Commission for 10 years. Yes, I have complete confidence in my information. You can record that. All right, I'll call you back immediately. Bye.
Hank?
He's agreed to cancel, Steve. The bomb won't go off. All right, boy. You can come down out of that ship.
He's opening up. Here he comes.
All right, Steve. Come on down.
Sure, Hank. Just a second.
Hank, I was scared. I was plain scared.
Easy now. It's all over. The bomb won't go off.
Thank God. Look, I want to see Mary and the baby. Can you get me transportation now?
Oh, wait a minute. It's almost 12. They won't let you in the hospital now.
I want to see the baby. Sure you do, but you've been under a strain. I've got a shot for you here, Steve. Give you a good night's sleep. All right. Roll up your sleeve. Yeah, here. There, that'll make you sleep. The sergeant will find you a bed.
Yes, sir. Come on, Mr. Wesson.
Okay. Good night, Hank. I'm kind of beat. It's been a tough night. It sure has. I thought for a minute he was going to blast those rockets and send us all to Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
Quite a stunt getting the ray bomb test called off.
It isn't called off.
But the chief said...
Ames couldn't get the chief. I was talking to a dead circuit. Bomb goes off in a couple of minutes.
Oh. Poor Steve. He was one of the best.
He was the best. 1 in 10 million.
Some story of his, poor guy. For a while, he almost had me believing that quarantine. That's a very common delusion. End of the world.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's a nice night. Never saw the stars so bright.
We better be getting in. That wind is cold.
Well, the bomb goes off in 30 seconds. Poor Steve.
You know, Hanson, there's just one thing.
Yeah?
It's outside my field, but I'm curious. How did he keep that ship in the air for 10 hours with only 10 minutes fuel?
You have just heard another adventure in time, space, and the unknown world of the future. The world of Dimension X.
Next week, a star of the future appearing on the program of the future, Dimension X. Next week, Miss Nancy Olson, the talented young actress whose performance in Sunset Boulevard marks her as one of Hollywood's most promising young actresses, becomes the first of a group of rising young artists of stage and screen who have been invited to make an appearance in this series. So listen then for Hello Tomorrow, starring Nancy Olson on Dimension X.
Tonight, Dimension X has transcribed The Outer Limits, written by Graham Dorr and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Wendell Holmes as Hanson, Joseph Julian as Steve, and Joe DeSantis as Donaldson. Your host was Norman Rose. Music by Albert Berman, engineer Bill Chambers. Dimension X is produced by Van Woodward and directed by Edward King.
The National Broadcasting Company delays the start of this program to bring you a special news bulletin. From the NBC newsroom in New York, United Nations troops have begun a breakthrough from their beachhead in South Korea, launching an attack from positions north of Taegu for a drive toward Seoul. The new offensive is timed with the big amphibious assault at Incheon, which is progressing on schedule. Keep tuned to your NBC station for the later news.
Space, transcribed in future tense.
Dimension X.
Tonight, a story of the future and the star of the future. The story, Hello Tomorrow, and the star, Miss Nancy Olson, the talented young actress who is currently winning critical acclaim for her performance in one of the outstanding pictures of the year, Sunset Boulevard. Tonight, Miss Olson becomes the first of a group of the stage and screen's most promising young stars of tomorrow to be invited to appear on the program of tomorrow, Dimension X. It was in the year 1991 that man disappeared from the face of the earth. The third atomic war had ended at last, leaving the land a mass of red radioactive dust, filling the air with gamma rays so deadly that life on the surface was no longer possible. There was only one way out. The few survivors went underground, burrowing their way deep into the earth like hunted moles, hiding from death in huge underground caverns. And it was there in the next 2,000 years that they built the new civilization. A civilization in which the genetic survival of the race came first, and every life and every law was shaped to serve that end. It is to this civilization, in the year of our Lord 4195 A.D., that we take you now.
Yes?
I have a call from the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong for Professor Lois Burton at the Institute of Genetics.
This is Professor Burton.
One moment. Go ahead, sir. Lois? Listen, darling, good news.
What?
The Genetic Board has approved our application for marriage.
Oh, so soon?
The tests found our chromosomes perfect. We can marry any time we want. Our offspring should be genetically in the 19th percentile of perfection. What's the matter, dear?
Oh, nothing. I'm just sort of breathless.
You are happy about it, aren't you, darling?
Oh, of course. Terribly happy.
I'm coming right over to the lab. I have a surprise.
Oh, not now, Walter.
What?
Well, I mean, you'll have to give me some time.
Time? What's the trouble?
No trouble. It's that genetic survey I've been working on.
What about it?
Well, I've finally gotten permission to study an actual living case. A specimen of imperfect genetic transmission.
Really?
Yes, they're bringing him up from the condemned cages on the lower level.
You will be careful, darling.
The supervisor says there's nothing to be afraid of. The specimen they're bringing is, XJ12. It's been studied before many times and is quite well trained.
Well, I don't like it.
Nonsense, darling. I've been waiting for this opportunity for years. Oh, there's my door signal. I'll have to hang up, darling. See you later. Yes?
Professor Lois Burton?
Yes?
I'm from the Phylogenic Institute, lower level.
Oh, then you brought me specimen XJ12.
May I come in?
By all means. Oh, how?
Horrible? It all depends on your viewpoint. I happen to have a twisted leg. My parents were genetically unsound.
But then you...
Yes. I am specimen XJ12.
I see.
I hope you aren't shocked.
No stable person permits feelings to enter into his work. I will admit to surprise. I was expecting something a little more, abnormal.
Sorry, I try to be as abnormal as possible. If I am, the Phylogenic Institute allows me out of the genetic cages every so often, so I can breathe the pure air of the upper levels and mingle with the genetically perfect.
You seem quite well educated.
I spent the first years of my life here in the upper levels.
How is that possible? They segregate imperfects.
As a small child, my mother concealed me from the director of selective heredity. I was brought up in secret. My mother actually, dreadful word, loved me.
I see. That would explain your obviously low threshold of emotional control.
If you choose to call it that. At first, you seemed to be struggling to repress a few feelings yourself.
We will confine ourselves to the impersonal aspects of our work.
As you please.
I shall require you as a demonstration for a lecture I'm delivering to one of my classes tomorrow.
At your service, Professor.
Sit here, please. Grip these electrodes tightly. I'm going to calibrate your electrochemical tension.
I'm quite familiar with the procedure. Oh! I realize that as an imperfect, I'm expendable. But I should hate to be electrocuted.
The charge is not lethal. Plus 15 surface tension.
You know, you have beautiful hair.
Plus 12 at a depth of 4 centimeters.
Lovely blue eyes. Crystal clear.
Plus 10, 7 centimeters.
Pretty. A perfect woman. Lovely, expressive hands. And a heart of stone. Like all the rest of you perfect survival types.
Try not to jump, sir, when the current strikes.
No feelings. Under control. Passed by the director of emotional stability.
Shut up!
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you have feelings.
That will be quite enough. I seem to sense an air of emotional tension.
Nothing, dear. This is a specimen XJ12.
Oh, I see. An inferior type.
Quite.
You, specimen. Can you understand me?
Yes.
Yes, what? Tell this dolt who I am, Lois.
This is the director of emotional stability for the third oblong. He also happens to be my selected genetic partner. You will address him as Sir.
Yes, sir.
This creature seems quite impertinent.
He's only a specimen, darling.
I suppose. We'll use him and ship him back to the cages at the Institute. He's probably radioactive. You, specimen.
Mr. Director?
You will confine your speech to answering only those questions addressed to you. Understand?
Yes, sir. Perfectly.
Attention. The next demonstration will be conducted by Professor Lois Burton of the Institute of Genetics. Her topic, the probability of radioactive damage in the chromosome heredity of imperfect non-survival types. Professor Burton.
We are very fortunate today in having obtained a specimen of an imperfect genetic type through the good graces of the Phylogenic Institute. Moreover, this specimen has been trained to tell in his own words about the factors in his upbringing. Specimen XJ12.
Thank you. My mother was a psychotechnician in the fifth oblong. My father was a historian specializing in the records of pre-atomic surface culture. In the earthquake of 2170, apparently some hard radiation filtered down through the tunnels and penetrated the fifth oblong. The effect on my hereditary factors is quite apparent in this twisted leg. I appreciate that you do not laugh. Most audiences seem compelled to laugh. Perhaps you are different. If so, perhaps you can be made to understand somehow what it means to be labeled an imperfect. Perhaps in some way I can penetrate the insulation with which the psychotechnicians, the drugs, and the glandular experts have surrounded your emotions.
Wait. As Director of Emotional Stability for this oblong, I order you to confine yourself to the subject.
My father taught me in the last days before he was executed that every human personality is born with certain inalienable natural rights. The right of free expression, the right to have feelings, and the right to mature, and above all, the right to be different from every other living organism, because every organism is different. I submit to you, distinguished students, that the attempt by this society to abridge these rights is a violation of nature. I say that the imperfects, the mutants, those who are different have as much right to exist and be free as you. I say break open the cages. Free my people. Stop him. Give us back the right to be individuals. Stop him. I say
Professor Burton, take this specimen back to your laboratory and confine him.
Yes, Mr. Director.
You, specimen, go quietly, I warn you.
I have nothing but contempt for your warnings.
I'll have you destroyed for this.
The specimen is unstable. He doesn't know what he's saying.
Then get him out of here, quickly. He's an affront to our genetic type.
Hold still while I bandage your head. He'll be all right.
I suppose you detest me for getting you into trouble.
Don't squirm.
Not that I blame you.
I don't detest you.
Oh.
In fact, I thought you quite magnificent.
You what?
As you spoke, something began to stir in me.
You don't hate me?
I've never felt so strange.
Tell me what you feel. If I moved you, then I must have moved the others, some of them at least.
I don't know quite how to explain it. A strange sympathy.
Compassion.
For some reason, I took pride in what you were doing. Seeing you stand up against them. Why do you look at me like that?
Because I can't help it.
I wish you wouldn't. You're only an imperfect, you know. You have no rights. Please, XJ12.
My name is Oren.
Please.
Say it. Oren.
Oren?
Again.
Oren.
Lois.
Oren.
Lois.
What is it? Why do I feel this way?
In the cages, they call it love.
Love? We have no such concept in the upper levels.
You've destroyed it.
Would it be correct to say, I feel love for you?
It would be correct.
I feel love for you.
Darling. Lois, what about Walter? You're going to marry him?
No.
You're genetically suited to each other.
I don't care. I won't marry him. There must be some other way.
But...
Walter.
Very touching. Very tender.
Walter, how could you spy?
In my capacity as Director of Emotional Stability, it is my duty to spy. Specimen XJ12 will be disposed of quite systematically by the state. For the good of the state. For the good of the genetic code. And in the name of emotional stability. Come in, Lois. I wondered how long it would be before you came to my office.
Walter, I have to talk to you.
Go right ahead.
Walter, you mustn't destroy him. Send him back to the cages, but don't kill him.
You speak of destroying an inferior creature as if it was something unethical.
Walter, please, for my sake.
Lois, I understand that you've entered a plea for postponement of our marriage at the Records Bureau.
Yes, I was too upset to go through with it.
It came as a great disappointment to me. If you were married to me, you would be safe from influences such as this XJ12. In which case, I might even be persuaded to send him back to the cages instead of having him destroyed. You see?
Yes. I see.
Think it over. Well, my dear?
When can we be married?
Soon. Tomorrow, if you like.
The sooner the better.
Lois. Lois, you make me very...
What about XJ12?
Oh, I see. A bargain is a bargain. Let me talk to the custodian, please. Hello. This is the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. I would like you to cancel the execution of specimen XJ12. Yes. Yes, that's right. Turn him over to the security guard. He's to be remanded permanently to the genetic cages.
Let me talk to him, Walter.
My dear, I don't think
Please,
that...
I want to be sure he's all right.
Very well. Hello. Connect a circuit in the cell block. I want to talk to XJ12. Here you are, my dear.
Hello? Orrin? Yes. No, I'm all right. How are you? Fine. Orrin, I've been talking to Walter. He's going to send you back to the cages. Yes. Yes. No, I'm going to marry him. Because I want to. I'm not lying to you. I'm very happy. Yes. Yes, I've got to hang up now. Goodbye. Goodbye.
And now, Lois?
Walter, please. I've got to get back to the lab.
Of course. I'll pick you up in, say, an hour, and we'll make plans for the wedding. All right?
Yes. Yes, of course. Goodbye, Walter.
Hello. This is the Director of Emotional Stability again. I want you to cancel that last order. Proceed with the execution, but under conditions of absolute secrecy. No. Don't use the lethal chamber. Take him to the tunnels on the upper level. That's correct. Fine.
This way.
Where are you taking me?
You're being returned to the Philogenic Institute. Orders from the Director of Emotional Stability. Into the elevator.
Very well. Why are we going toward the surface? The cages are on the lower levels.
Radiation check.
They've never done that before.
New procedure. All right. Walk.
Hawk, state your business.
I'm the custodian for the Third Oblong. This imperfect is my prisoner.
You can't go beyond this checkpoint. There's radioactivity in the tunnels.
This is a special mission, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I see. Just a moment, I'll open the airlock. Go ahead. You'll find 2 radiation suits in the chamber.
We will need only one.
So this is how they get rid of imperfects.
March inside. All right. Turn around.
Suppose I refuse.
It'll be less painful if you cooperate.
Before you dispose of me, could I give you a message for a friend?
That depends. What is the message? This! Security! Help! Security!
What is it? What happened?
The prisoner, he struck me. Before I could recover, he escaped into the tunnels.
Well, he won't last long. If the radiation doesn't get him, he'll starve to death.
Can you go after him?
I could send a robot, but it isn't worth the trouble. There's no way back from the tunnels except through here. Only other direction he can go is toward the surface. The closer he gets, the hotter the radiation. No, I think you can consider your prisoner dead.
More wine, my dear?
No, thank you, Walter.
You look very beautiful, my dear. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
These hydroponic fruits are delicious, aren't they? Oh, the wedding will just be a small affair. I've arranged for a few friends. The director of endocrine control, the chief of the security guards, 1 or 2 assistants to high council members.
Walter,
Yes?
Was he returned to the cages?
Now, why must you spoil this lovely dinner by bringing that up?
Was he, Walter?
Well...
Was he?
Well, as a matter of fact, there was a little difficulty.
Difficulty?
Yes, you see, he escaped.
Escaped?
He struck a guard and ran off into the tunnels.
The tunnels? But that's death.
He's free to return any time he chooses.
When did it happen?
Just a few hours ago, as a matter of fact.
Walter...
Now, don't become upset again, darling.
You planned it, didn't you, Walter?
Stability, darling. Stability.
Stability. Stability. Is that all I'm to hear from you for the rest of my life?
Darling.
Here's what I think of stability.
Well, we're not to be married. I'd be compelled to turn you over to the endocrine surgeons for doing that.
Well, you can go right ahead, because we aren't going to be married.
Checkpoint.
This is the director of emotional security.
Yes, sir.
If Professor Burton tries to pass the checkpoint, I want to take it into custody.
Well, Professor Burton just passed, sir. She said
You idiot.
But she said
I don't care what she said. Stop her. Send robots after her. Get her back. I'll have you destroyed as incompetent if you fail.
Yes, sir, at once, sir. Robot control. Checkpoint to robot control. Order out all televocal robots into the tunnels. Have them bring back any humans. This is a first priority order.
Oren, where are you? Oren. Oren, it's Lois.
This way. Behind us. Over here.
Oh, darling.
Lois, why did you come here? It's suicide.
I had to. Darling, are you all right?
So far.
You've got to turn back. Give yourself up.
They'll kill me.
You can't stay here. The radiation is +4 at this point. It gets worse as you approach the surface.
Go back, darling.
What will you do?
I'm going ahead.
But you can't.
I can. I'm going to the surface.
Not even the robots can survive it.
At least I'll be the first human in 1,100 years to see what the surface of the Earth looks like.
Come back with me.
No, darling.
Then I'm going with you.
Lois.
Don't try to stop me, darling. There's nothing to go back to now. Nothing but Walter and emotional stability.
Lois, you really want to come with me?
Yes.
You know what it means.
I don't care.
Oh, darling, I can't let you go.
Oren, I love you. See, I know how to say it now.
Say it again.
Oren, I love you.
Lois, what's that?
Sounds... Oh, Oren, it's the robot control. It's looking for us.
Come on, we've got to hurry. This way, hurry. It can't be much further, darling.
The robot is gaining.
Here, let me help you.
I can't.
All right, darling. We'll stop here. I may as well wait for it.
Oh, Oren. It's coming. I can see its light now.
Darling, listen. It stopped.
The lights are swinging around. Oren, it sees us.
Come on, darling. One last effort. Come on, run. Look ahead. You can see the lights reflecting from something.
It looks like a door.
It is. No, it's a heavy lead door.
There's a lever. Hurry.
Come on through. Lois, there must be some way to close it. Here.
Let me help you.
It won't get through that. It's solid lead.
Oren, where are we?
I don't know.
Look. There. A huge round light.
Lois.
Yes, Oren?
That's Luna. The moon. We're on the surface.
How red everything looks. How it glows.
It's the radioactivity.
Quiet. Peaceful. Deadly.
Oh, darling. Sit here and rest a while.
Put your arm around me. Oren, I'm afraid. Oren, we're going to die.
Don't think about it. Just think about us alone. The first humans to stand on the surface of Earth in 2,000 years. Lois, that door must have been placed there by the last handful of survivors who went underground after the atomic wars. Those other lights, the small ones, they must be stars.
Oren, I'm so tired.
Go to sleep, darling. Put your head on my shoulder and sleep.
Hold me, Oren. Hold me very close. Oren. Oren, wake up.
What is it?
Look, it's light.
What?
The whole universe is light. Oh, Oren, how beautiful. Look.
By all the laws of nature, we should be dead. Lois, no life could survive this.
By all the laws of nature. Oren.
What is it?
We're not dead. This is Earth and we're alive. We're not going to die.
But the radiation, it's present. You can see its effect.
Oren, did you ever hear of adaptation?
What?
There is a natural law of adaptation by which an organism will try to adjust itself to its environment by changing. It's called a geotropism.
I don't see what that has to do with...
All these generations, we've been bombarded by radiation filtering down through the Earth. Each successive generation must have inherited some degree of immunity to the effects of radiation.
And you think that...
Oren, it can't hurt us. Don't you see? We're immune. We're probably the first generation to inherit sufficient immunity.
But if that's true, then we can transmit that immunity. We can pass it along to our children.
Come on, darling. We'll have to find food and water.
The practical wife. Oh, wait a minute, darling.
What are you doing with that rock?
I want to scratch something on the outside of this lead door.
Lois and Oren.
4195. A.D.
Hello, tomorrow.
Tonight, Dimension X, the program of the future, has introduced a new star of the future, Miss Nancy Olson. Miss Olson appeared by courtesy of Paramount Pictures and may currently be seen in their production, Sunset Boulevard. Next week on Dimension X, the strange and sinister story of Dr. Grimshaw's Sanitarium.
Tonight, Dimension X has transcribed Hello Tomorrow, written by George Lefferts. Appearing with Nancy Olson were Santos Ortega as Walter and Donald Buca as Oren. Your narrator was Norman Rose. Music by Albert Berman. Engineer Bill Chambers. Dimension X is produced by Van Woodward and directed by Edward King.
Enjoy Bob Hope and Baby Snooks when they return this fall on NBC.
The underwater city of Euclidia is a weird and terrifying place, and it would seem almost impossible to escape from this well-guarded scientific colony 400 feet below the level of the South Pacific Ocean. It would be impossible for anyone depending on the mechanical devices protecting Euclidia, but the adventuring Gregory party escaped from the Magic Island with the help of their brave little homing pigeons. And now it appears that these same little birds may aid them again. The girl submarine commander, who has proven a friend in many instances, has informed Jerry and Joan that the homing pigeons are kept in the very laboratory where Captain Bradford will work with G-47. The great difficulty now will be how to plan the use of the pigeons without being overheard. Jerry and Joan are discussing this in their own quarters.
Are you sure it's all right for us to talk now, Joan?
We are quite safe. This small room is completely lined with Euclidean cloth.
Then you're sure that if we put this cloth around the room carefully, every time we want to talk in here, that nobody's going to hear us?
That is the situation. However, we must ascertain that the cloth is in perfect condition each time we use it.
Huh? Oh, what could happen to the cloth?
You understand, do you not, that the soundproof qualities of this Euclidean cloth are contained not in the fabric of the cloth itself, but in the liquid with which the cloth is saturated.
Oh, sure, I know that. It's just plain old cloth made of seaweed until they soak it in that secret formula there.
Precisely. And that soundproofing liquid may be removed just as it is applied with another liquid.
Gee whiz, Joan. You mean that one of those Euclideans might sneak in here while we're out and spoil his cloth? Take the soundproofing out of it so we'd get caught next time we try to talk about something secret?
That is precisely my meaning, Jerry. And I think it is only logical to expect such a move to be made.
Yeah, well, I guess you're right. But now that we've got it all fixed up, let's figure out what we're going to do.
I feel there is very little we can do until the captain is given the opportunity of working in the submarine laboratory with G-47 and locating the pigeons.
Well, then he'll have to plan a way to smuggle one of them on board a submarine or a rocket ship with him on a test run so that he can get a chance to turn a pigeon loose within range of Los Angeles.
How far will one of those little birds be able to fly and find my mother's home in Los Angeles?
Well, that's the trouble, Joan. And that's the reason the captain's got to try to turn them loose pretty close to home. He's not sure how far they can make it now.
At one time, the captain told me he thought 1,000 miles would be their limit.
Oh, that was all right then. They were just away from home a few weeks, and they were in training all the time. But now they've been locked up in a strange place for a long time, and they haven't had any practice. And Tex is afraid that a few hundred miles is all they can possibly make.
Then it will be necessary for the captain to arrange a long test run with a submarine or a rocket plane to release the pigeons within a short distance of Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's it.
And he will be closely guarded on those tests.
Well, yes. But Tex figures yes and no on that.
What do you mean, yes and no?
Well, G-47 knows that Tex is plenty smart about machinery and probably just as good a scientist as any of the rest of them. And when Tex is out with one of those ships, testing it to find out what's wrong with it, G-47 is going to give him plenty of chance to do his stuff.
Nevertheless, to carry a homing pigeon aboard with him and find the opportunity of releasing it without being observed will prove very difficult.
Oh, but it's not that hard. Tex won't care if he's observed or not once the pigeon gets away.
That is a mistake, Jerry.
What's a mistake about it?
I think we may consider that the release of the pigeon will be detected. Probably at the time it is released, or surely within a very short time.
Well, what of it? If the pigeon gets away, he's away, and that's that.
No, Jerry. As you would say, that is not that.
Well, why isn't it?
In the first place, if the pigeon is released from a rocket ship, which I consider most likely, the ship could easily overtake and destroy the little bird.
Did you ever try catching a little bird going 40 miles an hour?
Naturally not. Did you?
No, but I don't have to. You're the one that thinks it can be done.
I see no reason why that should be particularly difficult. But in the event that fog or clouds allowed the pigeon to safely lose itself, it would merely become necessary for one of the scientists to send a radio message to a Euclidean agent in Los Angeles. And the pigeon would be caught as Mr. Johnson waited for its arrival.
Yeah. Gee, I never thought of that. Johnson wouldn't even be waiting for its arrival. Johnson's like everybody else by now. He thinks we were all killed when that artificial volcano eruption made it look like the island was destroyed.
Precisely. He will be expecting no communication from us, and the little bird may not find anyone ready to receive its message.
Well, just the same, Tex figures that he can get a chance to use those pigeons to do us some good, and I think so, too.
I hope you are correct.
Well, I know I am. And in the meantime, let you and I plan a few things of our own.
What do you wish me to do?
Oh, help me think.
Think about what?
About escaping from the city and the cellar.
That would only be a waste of time. Except for the captain's daring plan, we have no hope.
Sometime I get so blamed sore at you that I could give you a good spanking.
What is a spanking?
Didn't you ever have one?
No, Jerry. I have never had a spanking. Is it something I would like very much?
No, it's something you wouldn't like very much. A spanking means that I'd turn you over my knee and paddle you good.
Paddle? I have heard of paddle. That is the instrument with which a small boat is propelled through the water, is it not?
Well, I wasn't thinking of just that kind of paddle, but maybe it's a good idea at that.
Hello, children.
Oh, Mother.
Mrs. Gregory.
Oh, what's the matter? You two seem surprised to see me.
We are.
I'll say we are. How did you get in here?
How did I get in? You mean in this room?
No, I mean in this apartment. This big place where all our rooms are.
Oh, I simply walked in.
Jerry, do you realize what that means?
Boy, I'll say I do. It means that anybody else could have walked in just as easy and heard all we were saying.
Were you discussing something you did not want overheard?
Yes, Mother. We have covered this small closet with the Euclidean cloth, as you can see, and we were discussing...
Look out, Joan. If Mrs. Gregory walked in on us, anybody else could do the same thing.
It was indeed stupid of us, Jerry. We should have realized that while this cloth was making this room soundproof, it was also making it impossible for us to hear anyone entering these chambers.
I hope you haven't given away any of Tex's ideas.
No, I guess we have, if anybody was listening.
Oh, Jerry.
I think we are safe this time, Mother. Jerry and I have been speaking but a few moments, and you would probably have seen anyone leaving who might have overheard us.
Yes, probably. But now that you have this little room fixed up so well, we'll continue using it with this added protection. When any two of us are discussing our plans, a third one must remain out in that other room on guard.
You're right, Mrs. Gregory. And I hope it isn't too late for your idea to be of any good.
I would not worry about that, Jerry. The element of time involved in our recent discussion should prove adequate protection.
Yeah, we didn't talk long either.
That is precisely what I said.
Well, then you took too long to say it.
Well, here you are.
Oh, Tex.
Sure happens quick.
What's this?
Now you can understand how startled Jerry and I were.
I do understand. And I also understand how dangerous it is to speak in the false security of this room.
Well, what's going on here?
Well, Joan and I covered the inside of this room with that Euclidean soundproof cloth, as you can see. And when we were talking in here, Mrs. Gregory popped in just like you did.
You see, Tex, Jerry and Joan feel that someone else, someone from whom our plans should be concealed, could have walked in on them just as easily as I did.
Oh, I see. That could happen. But remember that nobody would overhear very much when you had these curtains drawn as they were when I came in. I never heard a sound until I stuck my head through these drapes you put up.
Oh, boy. That's sure a relief.
Nevertheless, I feel that one of us should remain in the outer chamber whenever we are discussing anything of value.
By all means.
Yes, it might be safer. I have a little something to plan with Jerry right now.
Yes, Captain?
No, not for the moment, Joe. I'll tell you and Pat later. Now, if you two ladies will get busy doing nothing out in the central room, Jerry and I can do a little planning in safety behind these curtains.
Come, Joan. It's nearly time for lunch. We'll freshen up a bit.
Very well, Mother. Do not be long, Jerry.
Okay, Joan. We'll be there when the...
Well, Jerry's voice was certainly cut off sharply when that curtain fell over the doorway.
That cloth is perfectly soundproof. And, Mother...
Yes, dear?
I think that should render our fears groundless.
Oh, what do you mean?
Even if someone had entered and walked unheard to that door, as you and the captain did, they could not have heard what we were saying without opening the curtains as you did.
Let's hope you're right. But remember, Joan, dear, there are a great many things about this weird underwater city that we know nothing about. Perhaps there's some way G47 and the other scientists could overhear your conversation in that room.
Of course, that is possible. But I do not think it is at all likely.
Well, we can't help any by worrying about it. Come, dear, let's get ready for lunch.
But I have not heard the luncheon signal yet.
You'll hear it any minute now. And then that table will start coming up through the floor. You know, I'd like to visit the kitchens here and see how they do it.
I believe that could be easily arranged. We will ask G47's permission.
They must have a wonderful organization there. Food prepared for and served to nearly 300 people in a half an hour.
That is sufficient time, is it not?
Well, apparently it's quite enough here. But back home, it wouldn't be long enough.
I am afraid, Mother, that all things back home, as you call your world, must be forgotten.
Now, Joan, that's no way to talk. Tex and Jerry are planning right now. And when those two get down to business, things usually happen.
Jerry is very clever for one so young, is he not, Mother?
Yes, he is. But most young people of that age are clever. Perhaps as clever as Jerry. Most of them never get a chance to show what they really can do. As older people insist on dictating to them, overruling them on everything, and molding them to older standards, whether they fit or not. Now, Tex isn't like that. He's always figured that anybody old enough to think and express their thoughts is old enough to have an opinion worth listening to. And when Jerry gets an idea, Tex listens.
The captain is a very fine and understanding man. You are quite fond of him, are you not, Mother?
Why, yes, Joan, well, naturally, dear, oh, Joan, dear, come on, let's get ready for lunch.
Mother, why do you always seem so nervous? And why do you wish to change the subject when I inquire as to your feelings for the captain?
Now, Joan, dear, we're too busy for that, and I... there's the luncheon signal.
Yes, and the steel slide is moving in the floor. Our luncheon table will be up in a few seconds.
Perhaps you'd better go over there and tell Tex and Jerry that lunch is served.
Surely they would know that. The signal is quite plain.
But would they hear it behind the cloth?
Oh, how stupid of me, Mother. Of course not. I will call them at once. Captain Tex, Jerry, will you come? Mother.
Yes, Joan?
Come here, quickly.
What is it, dear? Has something happened?
Well, that I do not know, but the captain and Jerry are not here.
Now, here, let me see.
They're gone.
But how? Where? Is there any other opening to that room?
Not that I have been able to locate. Only this small door, and the walls, floor, and ceiling are of solid steel.
But, Joan, two men just don't fade away through solid steel.
Of course they do not. Nevertheless, they are gone, and they did not come through the door.
But where did they go, and how? Joan, we must know what's happened to them.
Down in the underwater city of Euclidia, 400 feet below the surface of the South Pacific Ocean, Mrs. Gregory and her daughter Joan find themselves in a strange and terrifying situation. One of the smaller rooms in the quarters assigned to them by the Euclideans has been lined with a soundproof Euclidean cloth to allow them to talk in privacy. Jerry and Captain Bradford were in this small room discussing plans for the possible use of homing pigeons in their escape when the time comes to capture the city. When luncheon is served, Joan calls to the conspirators, but they don't answer. Mrs. Gregory rushes to Joan's side. The room is empty.
But, Joan, there's no way to get out of this little room.
I think you are mistaken, Mother.
But these walls are solid steel behind this cloth.
Granted, nevertheless, Jerry and the captain are not in here now.
Well, where did they go?
That we cannot determine.
Oh, Joan, at times I think you were the most exasperating child I've ever known.
I am sorry, Mother.
Oh, forgive me, Joan. I didn't mean that, really. But all of this disappearing and jumping around noiselessly from place to place is just a little too much for me.
I suppose you do find it disturbing that I have lived so long with the Euclideans that such actions are perfectly natural to me.
Well, they're not natural to me. Jerry and Tex have disappeared, and we're going to do something about it.
What can you suggest?
We'll have to look for them, Joan.
I am quite willing to search, but it will be a foolish effort. We know that the construction of this room is solid steel.
Nevertheless, Tex and Jerry got out of this room.
And the means of exit is certainly closed to us.
Oh, I suppose it's hopeless. Like everything else that happens around here, we might as well sit quietly and wait for the Euclideans to bring the answer to us.
I think it would be far more sensible to partake of our lunch while we are waiting.
You're right, dear. We must eat.
Hey, Tex, here's the door.
Jerry!
That door wasn't here a minute ago.
And the captain.
Oh, sure it's us.
But where have you been?
We haven't been any place but right in this little room.
Captain, Mother, and I have just looked in this room, and you were not here.
Well, you can see that we're here now, and we never did go anyplace.
Tex, just what is this? Joan and I felt all over the walls of this room. We couldn't find a possible opening, and yet you disappeared, and the room was empty.
Now, wait a minute, Pat. Don't get excited. There's something mighty funny going on here. Jerry and I were talking in this small closet, surrounded by this Euclidean cloth. When we tried to come out, the door was gone, but we never left the room.
The explanation is quite simple, I believe.
Well, then let's have it. Mrs. Gregory looks like she's just seen a ghost.
Well, I am a little upset, Jerry.
What's your idea, Joan?
It could be only one thing, an optical illusion created by an additional partition dropped through the room.
That could have been easily enough done, but that means that we haven't the privacy we counted on.
I'll say it does. We're only kidding ourselves about being able to talk in that little room.
And if the Euclideans have overheard you, all of your plans about using the homing...
Careful, Pat.
Yes, Mother. It is not wise to speak too freely now. I think we may safely feel that this soundproof cloth has served its purpose.
I hope you're right.
So do I. But I don't feel any too happy about it.
I think we'd better eat while we have a chance. Remember that it'll be 6 o'clock tonight before they push the next meal up through the floor at us.
Hey, look, we're too late. The table's starting to go back down through the floor.
We are indeed too late.
And I was hungry, too.
Well, maybe I can catch something off the table before it gets down below the floor.
Be careful, Jerry. That machinery must be very powerful.
Too late, Jerry. It's no use.
Oh, you're right. Well, there went our lunch.
I feel it's all my fault. If I hadn't been so frightened, Joan would have had sense enough to eat while the food was here.
Do not feel badly, Mother. It will not hurt any of us to do without this one meal.
That's what you think. I'll bet I shrink all up before dinner.
Yeah, I guess you can stand it, son. Well, now that we're all together again, what have we accomplished? Let's sit down and talk it over.
Well, someone has been in this apartment. Someone has been here and has made several changes since our last meal.
Well, we've been out of it since breakfast. I guess they've had plenty of chance to do anything they liked in here. But I don't see where anything's changed.
Neither do I.
I believe I know what you mean, Mother. Our steps no longer make any sound, and these metal chairs move noiselessly along the floor.
Yes, Joan, that's it.
Golly, they've been in here and put that soundproof paint all over everything.
Looks like it, but why should they do that?
You will find your radio reception much clearer in a soundproof room.
Thales.
Yes, but where's his voice coming from?
From the radio receiver installed in your apartment.
So, we're going to have a radio now. Where is it?
In the wall near the exit to the main corridor.
Yeah, look. I see it now.
I see a square of steel that appears to be slightly newer than the rest of the wall.
That is the radio installation. You will find the switch in the wall panel. After I am through addressing you, you may use this equipment at your pleasure. However, at this time, you will be prepared to give your attention to a broadcast originating in the United States.
Gee, news from home.
Oh, it'll certainly sound good to hear someone who speaks as we do.
Wait a minute, Pat. These Euclideans are so anxious to have us hear this broadcast. I have an idea that we're not going to like it any too well.
You are correct, Captain Bradford. It is entirely possible that this broadcast will contain material which may prove distasteful to you. Nevertheless, it will also contain information which should make your present position quite clear to you.
How soon does all this happen?
I am speaking to you from the central communication chamber in the heart of Euclidia. Before me is a chronometer perfectly synchronized with the time employed on your radio stations. In a few seconds, I will connect your receiver with our main apparatus, and you may listen directly to a news broadcast originating in Los Angeles. The guest of honor is your former assistant, Mr. Johnson.
Johnson? Mother, you're Mr. Johnson.
But what is he doing on a radio news program?
Silence. In less than 20 seconds, you will hear the answer for yourselves.
Tex, what is this?
I don't know any more about it than you do, Pat. But I think we'd better sit still and listen.
That is an excellent suggestion, Captain.
Good idea, too.
Quiet, everybody.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you our regular meeting with an outstanding figure in the news of the week. The past week has been a lively one in the world of news, with events crowding each other out of the way for a place on page one. But we've chosen as the most interesting single news item of the week the story of the Gregory expedition to the South Seas and the mysterious disappearance of the so-called Magic Island.
Gee, it's
We're fortunate in having with us in the studio today a man who has been closely associated with Mrs. Patricia Gregory for several years, one of her most able lieutenants, and the man who directed the rescue of the Gregory party on 2 previous attempts to escape from the influence of the Magic Island, Mr. Clyde Johnson. Will you come in, please, Mr. Johnson, and allow us to ask you a few questions?
Yes, for the sake of the general interest in this cruise, I'll be glad to offer such news as I have.
Well, Mr. Johnson, your attitude suggests that your news isn't going to be very pleasant.
Indeed it isn't. On the contrary, I know what I have to say will strike deeply into the hearts of the thousands who have followed so sympathetically Mrs. Gregory's search for her long-lost little girl.
If you'll allow me, Mr. Johnson, I'd like to guide the path of this interview, not through any desire to interfere with your freedom in telling your story, but rather to help you extract a brief yet complete picture from the whole story.
Well, I wish you would do just that. I feel that there's so much to be told. Well, I just don't know where to start it.
Suppose we start with the beginning of the first cruise to this island.
Well, Mrs. Gregory and Captain Tex Bradford, who was in charge of all her travels and cruises, had heard over shortwave radio that her long-lost little girl, Joan, might be found on a strange island. The position of the island was given accurately.
That position was 29 degrees south, 124 degrees, 30 minutes west, was it not?
It was. A young amateur radio operator named Jerry Hall talked himself into the trip. and they sailed on Mrs. Gregory's yacht with a crew of 2, an old sea captain, John Craig, and a Scotch engineer, Angus MacLeod. They had no trouble finding the island, though it was certainly a weird place.
The island was artificial, wasn't it?
That's right. And in the complete description I shall give the news agencies, you'll find the dimensions. But for our purposes today, why, I'd say that it's enough to... pardon me. The island proved to be an unnatural place. Home of a colony of brilliant, though perhaps slightly mad scientists who have developed many things far beyond our world.
And the Gregory party successfully escaped from this island after finding Mrs. Gregory's little girl living there.
Yes. They were caught and returned on their first attempt, but the second time they helped themselves to one of the submarines belonging to the scientists, and they reached Los Angeles in safety.
What isn't clear to your reporter, and I'm sure it isn't clear to our listening audience, is this. Why did they not stay safely in Los Angeles?
Well, there were 2 reasons for that. First, because Captain Bradford was convinced that these scientists are a menace to the world and should be overcome. And second, because the scientists had so many spies and agents in California, all over the world for that matter, it seemed much safer for Mrs. Gregory, Joan, Jerry Hall, and the captain to remain together on a boat, rather than to attempt to lead a normal life in this country.
And on this last trip, they reached the island.
We have every reason to believe that they did. In fact, we found their abandoned boat, stripped of everything of value, drifting at the exact location of the island.
Might I ask how you were so sure of the location if the boat was drifting?
The position was correct with that of the island, and it was exactly at that spot the eruption occurred.
Eruption? Volcanic?
Yes. The Magic Island was undoubtedly destroyed by an eruption. It must have been located in the crater of an extinct volcano. Well, that is one that was believed to be extinct.
You saw this eruption?
I'll never forget it. I was on the ship the United States had contributed to help wipe out this island. All around us were the ships of other nations who had joined us, fully armed and ready to act as a body of international police to wipe out this menace to world safety. Well, there must have been at least 100 witnesses on each boat, and everyone agrees perfectly on what happened. The sensation aboard ship was much the same as that of an earthquake, and the water was thrown violently upward in a shower of fire. The sound of dull explosions was plainly heard as vast caves filled with natural gas must have exploded. And, well, there's nothing left. Nothing to mark the spot where the Gregory party landed, to pit their knowledge against the scientists of that mad colony.
You're sure, then, perfectly sure in your own mind, that this island was completely destroyed?
Anything else would be impossible. And the Gregory party has gone with that island. I think that's all.
I know how hard it's been for you to tell us this story, Mr. Johnson. You may be sure that everyone listening is deeply sympathetic toward this little party of adventurers. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have listened to an account of the destruction of the tiny island in the South Pacific, the Magic Island as we've come to know it. And with this item, your reporter concludes this broadcast.
I will now terminate your reception for this time. I trust you have heard and appreciated the story of your destruction. You are lost to the world, and you will remain so.
Gee, that gives me the creeps.
Oh, it wasn't pleasant, Jerry.
To hear ourselves spoken of as being dead.
Well, I don't blame Johnson or anyone else for thinking as they do, but we're very much alive.
I'll say we are. And before we get through with these Euclideans, the whole blame world is going to know we're alive.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Jimmy Olsen's report of a new attack about to be launched by Muggs and his wolf pack has brought confusion to the plans of Superman. Plans he had hoped would bring swift justice to those seeking to spread the germs of hate and prejudice.
Hi there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, have you tried the Pep Dish of the Week? It's got a nifty name, and it's a surefire way to add a little extra punch to breakfast. It's a Pep Banana Split, as terrific a dish as you'd ever want to taste. Now, here's how it goes. You sprinkle a layer of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, in the bottom of your bowl. Then cut a banana in half, split it down the middle, and arrange on top of the Pep. Then pour on more Pep and top with the other piece of banana. And there you are, gang, a Pep banana split. A solid sort of dish that your appetite will really latch on to, because those crisp, tender flakes of Kellogg's Pep are way out in front when it comes to tickling your taste. You see, Pep is called the Sunshine cereal, and it's loaded with sunny, golden toasted flavor. Good for you, too. Your mom knows that. So no matter how you serve it, Kellogg's Pep tastes so terrific that, well, you'll want to eat up every last bit in your bowl. And that's especially on the bean nowadays, when the cereal grains are being sent to fellows and girls all over the world. So get hep to Pep, gang. Don't waste it. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, take special pains to make sure there's no waste of cereal at your house. If you pour your own cereal, pour it carefully and polish off every bit you pour out. Make it a habit to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Accepted as a member of the juvenile gang led by a boy known only as Muggs, a gang doing the dirty work for a hate-mongering organization calling themselves the Guardians of America, young Jimmy Olsen, cub reporter for the Daily Planet, has secured some valuable information. At the moment, however, his latest tip to Clark Kent has resulted in confusion. Muggs and his gang are about to commit another act of violence, this time attaching a small bomb to the engine of an automobile, set to explode when the engine is started. Both Kent and Jimmy were certain the attack was going to be directed against the Reverend Dr. Leeds, pastor of the Methodist Church. But in yesterday's episode, as you remember, they learned that Dr. Leeds did not own a car. As we continue now, Kent and Jimmy are conferring with Father Sheehan, the Catholic priest who is acting as chairman of the committee attempting to build a community clubhouse in Metropolis.
I don't know, Kent. Things like this make me wonder sometimes whether it's true that a soft word turneth away wrath. Maybe we are going about this in the wrong way. Maybe Inspector Henderson is right. Iron bars and a mailed fist.
Oh, you know that's not so, Father.
Yes, of course, Jimmy, I know. I believe in the Ten Commandments, and I've tried to live by them. But when I heard about the murderous attack on Rabbi Stone, well, if those young hoodlums had been anywhere within arm's reach, I'm sure I don't know what I might have done.
I doubt that you'd have done anything violent, Father, but that's neither here nor there. Incidentally, it might interest you to know that while Rabbi Stone is recovering from the knife wound, Dr. Leeds is going to preach the sermons at the rabbi's temple.
Well, that's fine, Ken, fine.
And speaking of Dr. Leeds, we're still a little confused about the latest information Jimmy got from Muggs, that an attempt is going to be made to blow up a car.
Leeds doesn't own a car.
No, he doesn't.
No, neither do you. Neither does Rabbi Stone. That leaves the three lay members of the Unity House Committee, Dave Hoffman, the druggist, George Murphy, the retired police inspector, and Mr. Walters, principal of the school.
And you feel certain the attack will be against a member of the committee?
Oh, sure it will.
Well, it's anybody's guess, but up to now, every act of violence has been directed against a committee member. These self-styled Guardians of America seem determined to keep you from building Unity House.
Well, what about Mr. Klein?
Who, Jim?
Mr. Klein, the man who owns the art gallery.
Oh, yes, I forgot about him.
Is this something I missed?
Well, it's something we missed telling you, probably. Jimmy got a personal assignment from Mr. Rat himself, the high mucky-muck who seems to be running the Guardians of America. An assignment to destroy some valuable paintings in an art gallery belonging to a man named Klein.
Well, you're certainly not going through with it.
Yes, we are, as the phrase goes for the papers.
Kent, I don't understand. Stores can be rebuilt and wounds can heal, but art treasures can never be replaced.
Don't you worry, Father. Nothing will be damaged or destroyed. What we plan to do, and we would have done it today if this car business hadn't come up, is call Mr. Klein in and explain the entire situation to him. Undoubtedly, we'll get his cooperation.
You mean he'll let you destroy his paintings?
Oh, no, not really.
Just for the papers, Father. You see, boiled down, what we'll do is fake a story and print it in the Daily Planet. A story to the effect that a vandal slashed and cut 5 or 6 valuable paintings in Klein's art gallery. The net of it will be that Mr. Rat will think Jimmy here has carried out his assignment and can be trusted implicitly.
Oh, yes, now I get it.
Then with that trust established, we're hoping he'll come out from behind his black curtain and let Jimmy get a look at him for future identification.
And then what?
Well, then the rest is easy. We'll nab Mr. Rat. We know where his hole is. Jimmy can identify him as the man who directed the hate mongers and who ordered Muggs and his gang to commit various acts of violence. And unless I'm dead wrong, he'll go up for life.
So the only problem at the moment is whose automobile they plan to blow up.
That's right. Dave Hoffman owns a car, but he's already been attacked. Of course, that doesn't eliminate him completely.
Kent, what about George Murphy?
The retired cop?
That's right.
Yes, he has a car. So has the school principal, Mr. Walters. They've all been warned to be on the lookout, though. In addition, Inspector Henderson has assigned a police mechanic to each one of them. He'll examine their cars before they drive them.
Well, you seem to have covered everything.
Well, what about Mr. Klein?
I don't know. I don't think he fits into this picture, Jim. They wouldn't waste 2 attacks on him.
Well, why are they attacking Klein at all? Because he's Jewish?
You know, from what Jim could gather, he contributed to the Unity House Building Fund.
Oh, I see. Oh, speaking of contributions, Kent.
Yeah?
That $10,000 check from your editor, Mr. White, came in this morning.
Oh, good.
I'll thank him for that personally, but I want to thank you for that piece in the paper.
The what?
For the write-up in the Daily Planet.
Oh, what write-up? You mean to
Just
say...
a minute, Jim. What's this all about, Father?
Well, Kent, I'm surprised you don't know about this. I was sure you'd written the article.
Oh, what's it about, Father?
Oh, wait a minute. I think I have the paper right here. There you are. It's right on the front page.
See it, Father.
What's it say, Mr. Kent?
There's Unity House Fund swelling. Planet announces $10,000 contribution.
Oh, did you write it, Mr. Kent?
No, Jim, I didn't. Let's see. The Unity House Building Fund, earmarked for the construction of a gymnasium and playground whose doors will be open to all metropolis children regardless of race, religion, or color, was swelled considerably today when Perry White, editor of the Planet, announced a contribution of $10,000.
Clark Kent reads the article in the Daily Planet. Almost at the same moment, someone else is reading it aloud with as much, if not more, interest. None other than the still unidentified leader of the Guardians.
This contribution, together with the contributions of all those interested in the furtherance of better understanding among people, will go far toward achieving the goal, according to Father Francis Sheehan, Rabbi Harry Stone, and Dr. William Leeds, interfaith members of the committee. Very interesting, don't you think, Eric?
$10,000? It's a lot of money.
Well, that sounds strange coming from you. How much did you spend in this country alone during the war trying to buy military secrets?
That is another story. They are building a gymnasium, not a battleship.
They're building nothing, I promise you. I was waiting for the Daily Planet to get behind this. Now we'll have to get behind the Daily Planet with a knife.
How?
I'll show you how. Call the pool room first and instruct Muggs to come here as soon as possible. You know the number?
Yes.
And the code line?
Yes. Tell Muggs his mother wants him.
Right. And use the phone in the other room. I want to use this one to call the editor of the Daily Planet.
You're joking.
Don't look so shocked, Eric. What's wrong with my calling a newspaper editor?
You are supposed to remain in the background.
Don't worry, I will. I'm calling Mr. Perry White to invite him to play the lead in a little drama I've just created. I suppose you might call it a tragedy. The title could be Death on Wheels.
Death on Wheels. What does the mysterious leader of the self-styled Guardians of America mean? We'll know in a moment when we return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
You know, breakfast sure does give your appetite the old come-on when there's a bowl of Kellogg's Pep at your place at the table. Pep looks so sunny and crisp and golden that, well, you'll want to pull up a chair and pitch right in. And Pep, the Sunshine cereal, tastes just as good as it looks, believe me. Pep Sunshine flavor is so smooth and rich it kind of sparkles on your tongue. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Pep is a surefire hit when it comes to brightening up breakfast. Sends you off to school in the right mood for a good day. You see, when there's Kellogg's Pep for breakfast, you're getting solid whole wheat nourishment plus. So it's a slick trick to polish off every single flake in your bowl. And here's another angle, gang. Nowadays, the cereal grains, like the whole wheat in Kellogg's Pep, are being sent to fellows and girls overseas. So it's not a good idea to waste cereal. No, sir. Keep on the beam when Mother brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. Don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. And kind of keep an eye on your younger brothers and sisters, too. Just be sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
As the result of a newspaper article announcing that editor Perry White of the Daily Planet had donated $10,000 to the Unity House Building Fund, the as yet unidentified head of the hate-mongering organization calling themselves the Guardians of America has decided to direct his next violent attack against the gray-haired editor. As we continue now, we return to the study of a sumptuous penthouse apartment, headquarters of the so-called Guardians. Their unnamed leader is being addressed by a blond, Germanic-looking man called Eric, who speaks with a trace of an accent.
I have just called the pool room. Muggs will be here shortly.
Good. Now we have to plan this so there will be no slip-up. You know the expression, kill two birds with one stone?
I have heard it.
Well, we're going to try to kill two enemies with one bomb.
I do not understand.
The original plan, as you remember, was to strike at that Methodist minister, Dr. Leeds. However, we learned that he did not drive a car. And at the last moment, we switched to another member of that committee, the school principal. But we're going to switch back.
How? The device is no good unless it is attached to the ignition system of an automobile engine.
That's exactly where it will be attached.
But you say the minister has no car.
Listen, I'm about to call Perry White, editor of the Daily Planet. I think you will find the conversation very...
Perry White speaking.
Mr. White?
Yes?
This is Father Sheehan, Mr. White, of St. Catherine's.
Oh, yes. Hello, Father. How are you?
Quite well, thank you. And you?
Fine, fine.
That's good.
Oh, did you get my check, Father?
Why, yes. In fact, that's why I'm calling. First, to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, it's nothing, really.
And then to invite you to attend the meeting to be held at my parish house this evening. The members of my committee would deeply appreciate some advice from you as the editor of the country's most important newspaper.
Oh, I'll be happy to do anything I can, Father.
I knew you would, Mr. White. Now, one more little favor.
Name it, and it's yours.
I assume you have a car?
Oh, why, yes.
And you'll be driving from your office to the parish house this evening?
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, then, would you mind terribly, Mr. White, picking up one of our committee members on your way?
No, not at all. Who is it?
The Reverend Dr. Leeds of the Methodist Church. If you have a pencil and paper handy, I'll give you his home address.
The Reverend Dr. Leeds, victim number 3 in the campaign of hate and intolerance. But this time the attack is aimed at 2 people. As the leader of the Guardians of America said, we'll kill 2 enemies with 1 bomb. Innocent and unaware, Perry White is stepping into a trap from which the only escape may be death. Don't miss tomorrow's tense, thrill-packed episode entitled 1 Minute to Murder.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, if your dog is a softie, here's a little trick that you can try to help give him lots of muscle. Mix Kellogg's Grow Pup dog food in with his scraps of meat and fat. See if it doesn't make his eyes brighter and his coat glossy. And see if it doesn't give him lots of oof, so that pretty soon he'll be able to take it and scramble right along with the gang. Lots of champs feed on Grow Pup, you know. So let your dog have his pick of Grow Pup Ribbon, Grow Pup Meal, or Grow Pup Pellets. Just so Mother remembers, write Kellogg's Grow Pup on her marketing list right now. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, as the so-called Guardians of America revel in their daring plan to launch another sneak attack on the Unity House Committee, Clark Kent is unaware that his editor, Perry White, is himself a target.
You know what happens to fellas and girls who take time to eat a solid sort of breakfast, the kind experts recommend? Well, watch them tear off to school in high in the snappy move that makes for a good day. And, gang, do you know what's the nifty appetite tickler that looks so good you want to eat hearty come breakfast time? Why, it's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Yes, sir, those golden toasted flakes of sun-ripened whole wheat sure do give your appetite the old 1-2. And when you really dig in, Kellogg's Pep tastes just as slick as it looks. Smooth sunshine flavor and tender crispness, mighty terrific eating. One look at Pep's golden goodness, one taste of that knockout full wheat flavor, and you're all set to polish off every last spoonful in your bowl. And nothing could be smarter nowadays when it's off the beam to waste cereal. Because the cereal grains have been picked out to give that swell grain nourishment to fellas and girls overseas. So latch on to Kellogg's Pep, gang. And when Mom brings Pep home from the grocer's, make sure it's not wasted. Handle with care is the idea if you pour your own cereal, and eat up every bit you pour out. Tip off the rest of your family, too. Just remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Battling a subversive organization calling itself the Guardians of America, Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, enlisted the aid of young Jimmy Olsen to masquerade as a poolroom tough and learn, if possible, the identity of the man running the organization. In yesterday's episode, as you recall, Jimmy reported to Kent that an attack was about to be directed at the Reverend Dr. Leeds, pastor of the Methodist Church, a member of the Unity House Committee. According to Jimmy, an explosive bomb would be attached to the motor of the Protestant minister's car, a bomb that would go off when the car was started. Calling to warn Dr. Leeds, Kent learned, to his amazement, that the minister had no car. Could Jimmy's information be wrong? The answer is no. Unknown to Kent, the mysterious leader of the so-called Guardians had arranged for editor Perry White to call for Dr. Leeds in his car. And in that way, as he venomously put it, they could get two enemies with one bomb. Continuing our story now, we join Perry White at the Daily Planet, where Beanie, the office boy and jack of all jobs, is on the carpet.
Do you mean to stand there and tell me we haven't heard from Kenner Olsen in 48 hours?
Has it been that long, Mr. White?
What do you mean, has it been that long? How long do you think it's been?
Search me, Mr. White. I don't have a watch.
Never mind. Where's Miss Lane?
I don't know. I haven't seen her either for a long time.
No, you haven't?
No, Mr. White.
You don't seem to have seen anyone. Now tell me, what do you do around here?
What do I do?
That's what I said. What do you do around here?
That's what I thought you said.
Well?
What do I do?
Yes. What do you do? How do you occupy your time?
Well, I run copy and I go on errands. You know, get coffee and stuff for the reporters, and I pick up papers from the floor, I mean. You know, crumpled up papers.
You don't have to draw diagrams.
Diagrams? I don't draw any diagrams.
Oh, never mind. Skip it. What else do you do?
Well, I say hello to people when they come in, and I ask them who they want to see, and...
All right. That's enough. How much are we paying you?
$27.50 a week, and out of that I give my
Nobody's interested in your personal finances. Would you like a raise?
What?
What's the matter? Can't you hear? I said a raise.
Oh, boy. Would a fish like to swim?
All right. Now, here's a chance for you to make some more money. I'll give you a $5 raise if you can find Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen.
You mean $5 a week?
What do you think, a day?
Jeepers. $5 a week? Where am I going to find them?
That's your affair. If and when you do find them, tell them for me that... Perry White speaking.
Oh, Chief.
Oh, Kent.
Surprised to hear from me?
Is Olsen with you?
Jimmy? Yes.
Just a minute. Beanie, the deal's off. No raise. I found them myself.
Oh, wouldn't you know it?
Now get out.
Hello?
Get out and pick up papers.
Hello?
I bought something.
Hello, Chief. Hello?
Well, what's your hurry? I've been waiting for you for 48 hours. You can do a little waiting for me.
I thought we'd been disconnected.
Well, I like nothing better than to disconnect you limb from limb. Where have you been? Why haven't you kept in touch with the office?
Wait a minute.
Who's paying your salary?
Whoa, take it easy, Chief. You know what I'm doing.
Oh, I do I?
Yes.
What am I, a mind reader?
Now, look here. You know perfectly well I'm working on a story.
From the time it's taking, I'd say you were working on an encyclopedia.
Don't be sarcastic. This is important, and you know it as well as I do. Say, by the way, Father Sheehan got your check. He's quite pleased.
Yes, I know. He called me.
He did?
Yes. Matter of fact, I'm attending a meeting at his parish house tonight.
Oh.
I think you'd better come along.
Well, I can't, Chief. I'll be busy.
Busy? Busy with what?
We're trying to ward off another attack on one of the Unity House committee members.
Oh, who is it this
We
time?
don't know. Jimmy hasn't been able to get any details, but it's pretty serious.
Well, if you ask me, the whole thing is pretty serious. And I don't like the way it's being handled.
You have no right to say that, Chief. After all, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, that's what you think. If I had my way, I'd blast those guys behind this hate business off the face of the earth.
Oh, sure.
I'd use the power of the press to run them out of town. I'd print it in the biggest, blackest headlines I could find.
Oh, no, Chief. Look, we've gone over this a dozen times.
Oh, so what?
Well, running them out of one town into another doesn't solve the problem.
Then clap them into jail.
How can we? We have no evidence.
You've got plenty of evidence against those hoodlums who set fire to Hoffman's store, almost killed Danny O'Neill, and stuck a knife into that rabbi.
I know. I've told you before, though, Chief. They're just cat's paws. They don't even know what they're doing.
Not much they don't.
Well, look, Chief, it's senseless to argue this way over the phone. You know we can't
get anywhere this way.
Then why don't you show up at the office once in a while? Or is that asking too much?
Here we go again.
Now, one of these days, Kent, you'll go too far.
You really want me at the office?
Yes. Bring Olson with you.
Well, that's impossible. Jim can't be connected with the planet until this thing is cleared up.
Oh, all right. How soon will you be here?
20 minutes.
I'll wait for you. Goodbye.
He sure sounded mad.
You know the chief, Jim. All bark and no bite.
Are you going to the office like you said?
Well, I'm afraid I'll have to, just to keep peace in the family. What time is it, Jim?
4:30.
When are you due back at the pool room?
Muggs said to show up around 8.
Well, you better stay here. Maybe you can catch a few hours sleep.
Oh, I'm not tired.
You should be. Last 48 hours have been pretty hectic.
I know, but I'm not tired, honest. I feel swell.
Oh.
I'll sit around and read, play the radio.
Okay.
You'll be back, won't you?
Oh, of course.
I mean, before I go to the pool room?
Long before. I told Inspector Henderson I'd be home all evening in case he needed me. I don't see how anything can happen now that we've warned the 3 members of the committee who own cars not to drive them tonight. And on top of that, Henderson has a plainclothes man watching each of their homes.
Well, that takes care of everything, I guess.
I can't tell, Jim. Something might break. And I want to be ready for it if it does.
You think maybe Muggs gave me a bum steer on purpose?
A bum steer?
I mean, you think maybe he told me they were going to hook a bomb up to the motor of somebody's car just to throw me off the trail?
No.
That's not what they're going to do at all?
Could be.
Well, if he did, then it means he doesn't trust me. It means he's suspicious.
Well, that could be, too.
Well, then maybe I better not show up there tonight. At the pool room, I mean.
Oh, you've got to, Jim. If you don't show up and he is suspicious, it'll just confirm his suspicions.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not only do you have to show up, but you've got to go out on this job. Oh, the detectives watching the 3 houses have been told not to make any arrests, just to see that no property is damaged, so you won't be in any danger.
Oh, that's good.
But I want you to go along so that you can testify later as an eyewitness.
Whose houses are the detectives watching?
The 3 car owners in the committee, Hoffman, Murphy, and Walters, the school principal.
Oh.
The other 3, Father Sheehan, Rabbi Stone, and Dr. Leeds, don't own cars.
That's right.
Oh, hey, I better get going. Said I'd be there in 20 minutes. If I'm not, the chief will have apoplexy.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll see you later, Jim.
Okay.
Alone in the apartment, Jimmy picks up a magazine, thumbs through it absently, crosses to the radio, turns it on, and while waiting for it to warm up, strolls to the window and looks down on the street. Suddenly, the color drains from his cheeks and his mouth gapes open. What has he seen? We'll know in a moment when we return for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, old Mother Hubbard's got a new name these days. Sure, she's Mother Hubba Hubba when she goes to the cupboard for a package of Kellogg's Pep. Because Pep, the Sunshine cereal, makes breakfast really hubba hubba. Boy, how those sunny golden toasted flakes do make your appetite sit up and take notice. And say, have you heard the word about Pep's Dish of the Week? This week, it's a Pep Banana Split. As keen a dish as you'd ever want to taste. Now, here's the idea. You sprinkle a layer of Kellogg's Pep in the bottom of your bowl. Top with half a banana that's been split down the middle. Then more Pep and the rest of the banana. Add milk and sugar, and then see how Pep's famous sunshine flavor and tender crispness do rise and shine. Why, you won't want to stop until you've finished the very last spoonful in your bowl, which is certainly a very hep thing to do nowadays, because Kellogg's Pep is made from whole wheat, and whole wheat is one of the cereal grains picked out to go to fellows and girls all around the world. So, gang, get hep to Pep. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and polish off every bit you pour out. And kind of keep watch on your younger brothers and sisters, too. Get the right habit. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Alone in Clark Kent's apartment, Jimmy Olsen strolled over to the window to look out on the street. And suddenly the color drained from his cheeks and his mouth gaped open. For there, standing on the curb directly opposite the apartment house, were 2 familiar figures wearing checked caps. Figures he identified immediately as Muggs and one of his young lieutenants, Lefty. As we join Jimmy now, 5 minutes have gone by. The 2 young toughs are no longer standing on the curb, but have crossed the street and entered the apartment house. Jimmy is on the phone connected with the Daily Planet switchboard, but at the moment, getting no response.
Hello? Hello? Golly, why doesn't the chief answer his phone? Hello? Hello?
Very White speaking.
Mr. White, this is Jimmy Olsen.
Well, a voice from the dead. Are you still working for us, Mr. Olsen?
Don't joke, Mr. White. I'm in trouble. Is Clark Kent there yet?
Mr. Kent? The great Mr. Kent?
Mr. White, please, they're coming for me.
What's that?
I said they're coming for me.
Who's coming for you?
Muggs and one of his gang. Is Mr. Kent there yet?
No, he isn't. What are you babbling about?
They must have followed me to Mr. Kent's apartment. Then they must have waited till he went out. Now they're coming for me.
Stop babbling.
I'm not babbling, Mr. White. It's the truth. Are you sure Mr. Kent isn't there yet? Would you look in his office?
What do you think I am? Messenger boy?
But, Chief, I mean, Mr. White, they're coming for me. They're asking. There's the doorbell. They're here, Mr. White. They're here.
Trapped in Clark Kent's apartment with Muggs and one of his companions at the door, Jimmy can see no way of escape. This time the odds are against him. Clark Kent is en route to the Daily Planet, and it is too late to call the police. What can Jimmy do? The next 60 seconds may mean the difference between life and death. Gang, whatever you do, don't miss listening to Superman tomorrow when Jimmy Olsen fights for his very life in the exciting episode entitled Escape.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. You know, gang, a dog likes having his own feeding dish and his own bed. And I bet you he likes his own food, too, instead of yours, if you give him Kellogg's Grow Pup dog food. Grow Pup has a grand, meaty flavor dogs go for, and it helps keep them husky, too. Helps give them strong bones and teeth and muscles. There are 3 different kinds of Grow Pup, all of them wonderful for your dog. There's Grow Pup Ribbon, Grow Pup Meal, and Grow Pup Pellets. Ask Mother to get Kellogg's Grow Pup today. See if your dog doesn't go for it right off the bat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the 4 walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. You are seated before the dials of your radio receiver, listening to a faint voice from the blackness beyond, while the one who speaks with words of friendship is debating the destruction of your world. Listen now as Escape brings you Michael Gray's exciting story, The Invader. Here in the Nevada desert, our forward observation post is a slit trench less than 2 miles from ground zero of Operation Doorstep 8A bomb test. The time exactly 30 seconds to 8 hour. That's the voice of our official guide, Colonel Jim Donovan.
All personnel put on protective glasses and get below trench abutments. We have 8 hour minus 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
the explosion any second now.
That flash, Commander?
Yes. Check the cyclo gauges for reaction.
Yes, sir. No reaction, 0 count. What an extraordinary race.
Very primitive. The main object appears to be to kill each other off at periodic intervals.
I wonder why the Council doesn't order extinction.
There's hope. That's why we've been sent.
But the red zero discs vanished on the same job last Delo. Why waste more lives? The things should be exterminated.
Don't be unscientific. The red zero discs probably disobeyed orders and landed on water.
Water?
Yes, water.
Oh, what a place. What do they call those creatures, Commander?
Humans.
Humans? What an odd name.
I'm afraid they're a very odd race.
Yes, Martha.
I saw the bomb test on television this morning. You see it in school?
No, dear.
Oh. Where are you going now?
Into the lab. Call me when dinner's ready, will you, dear? Yeah, let's
Albert, I want to talk to you.
Huh?
I said I want to talk to you.
Oh, yes, dear, of course.
I saw Mrs. Warren today.
Yes, dear.
Will you stop messing around and pay attention to what I'm saying?
Yes, dear.
I should merely like to remind you that Mrs. Warren is your school principal's wife. She hinted that he's not pleased with your work. In fact, he's not pleased at all. Albert, did you hear what I said?
Yes, dear.
Come back here. Now, stand still and listen to me. How do you think I feel having the principal's wife laughing at you and laughing at me, too? This is the third job you've had in the past 2 years, and you are going to keep this one. I know it's hard for a scientific genius to settle down teaching 12th grade chemistry, but this time you're going to stick. I mean it, Albert. You're making yourself the laughing stock of the school with your crazy experiments, and it's got to stop. I'm just not going to spend the rest of my life following you around from job to job like a gypsy.
Well, of course, dear. Oh, I understand.
You'd better understand. I'm not going to stand for it anymore. If you're not down for dinner in 5 minutes, there won't be any dinner for you.
Commander? Magnetrons oscillating.
Probably magnetic storms.
No, it's a definite signal on our channel. That's the council's calling.
Raise and bring it in.
Station MXA calling. Station MXA calling. Station MXA, over and out.
That's not the council. Check the frequency.
It's the emergency band.
Somebody's playing a joke. Tell them to clear the ether.
Stellar disk white 0 now. Who's called?
Moment. Ask for code check.
Belladisc, White, 0 now. Give name. Code check.
Station MXA. Where are you?
Give me the frequent tone. Listen, MXA. This is Commander of Delta Ship White 0 Null on space mission. Get off this channel. Make a note for the log. We'll report it back to the council. What was his identification?
Sounded like MXA.
MXA. MXA. Check the cyclo listing.
There's no such station listed, Riss.
There must be. Cross-check and fix.
Yes, Riss. No. Absolutely no listing.
Oh, no. It's impossible. Those blundering primates couldn't have the intelligence.
What's primates, Riss?
Humans. It's incredible, but use the Magna band. We'll keep emergency open. Fix and raise MXA immediately.
Delta Ship White 0 null. Delta Ship White 0 null.
Are you coming down to supper?
Oh, Martha. Martha, it's amazing. I've made contact. I spoke to them.
Spoke to who?
The Delta White 0 null. I've checked the station list. There's no such call sign. It means only one thing, Martha. One thing. Space. Men in space. You know what that means?
Oh, stop it. Albert, when are you going to grow up? Your dinner's getting cold.
Commander Delta White 0 Null, calling station MXA. Where are you located?
Commander Delta White 0 null. This is station MXA. I'm located at La Mirada, California.
What planet?
Planet Earth. That's continent of North America. Who are you? Repeat who you are. Over.
Are you human?
Yes. You aren't...
No, of course not. We're of Epsilon from the race of planetoid Delta.
Delta?
On mission of exploration for the Council.
Council?
The Council of Quantum Major the Nebulae Ursula. We're arriving in your atmosphere in 2 delos more to examine your planet. We cannot continue this unauthorized contact without permission from the Council. If granted, we will raise contact again at your earliest flight time tomorrow.
Oh. Did you hear that, Martha? Did you hear?
Are you or are you not coming down to dinner?
Oh, I've done it. Out there in space is another intelligence. Another race. And I've made contact.
For the last time, are you coming down?
Martha, listen, I've made one of the most important discoveries of the century. The first contact with another world, another people, or something. Think what it'll mean for civilization. Think what they'll bring. Maybe a whole new way of life.
Just another one of those radio amateur friends of yours playing a joke.
No, Martha, that's impossible. The frequency's completely outside the UHF band. No station could even reach the range, much less transmit speech. Oh, yes, tomorrow I can ask questions now. I can find out more.
Right now, I've said enough. I've watched you wreck job after job with your silly crackpot ideas. I've been hoping that you'd come to your senses.
But you heard, Martha.
I've put up with this pile of junk long enough. If you don't come to your senses once and for all, I'm through with you.
Oh, but Martha...
I'll give you 5 minutes more to wash and get downstairs, or I'm through Albertana. I mean it. Wake up, Albert.
Oh, I'm kind of feathered. Oh, yes, of course.
Hurry up and get showered. You'll be late.
I'm cold. Oh, I mustn't be late. Oh, my. Let me see now. Early light time. Oh, I hope I'm not late.
Where are you going?
He said he'd make contact early or late. Light time. Don't worry about breakfast, dear. Just fix some coffee.
You're getting showered and dressed now. Now, do you hear me? You know what the principal said the last time you were late?
Martha, I'm not going to school.
Yo.
Oh, I can't. Don't you understand, dear? Today I'm going to contact Delta White No. In fact, I'm going to contact him right now.
You mean to tell me that you're risking your job for that crazy?
Oh, Martha's not crazy. Nobody on this earth could have transmitted on that frequency. There's only one explanation.
All right. I can see that there's only one solution to this. And you've asked for it.
Martha, don't. Martha, stop. What are you going to do? Martha!
Get away from that door.
Martha,
by the
please.
time I finish with this place, get out of my way. All you'll need is a broom.
Stop. Stand on my chair, Martha. Now, then. You listen to me for a change. For 14 years, I've been teaching sniveling little monsters to blow themselves up for less money than a garbage collector. And for 10 years, I've listened to you nag me out of any sort of manhood. But if you lay one finger on that equipment or come in this room again without my express permission, I'll kill you. Station MXA, calling Delta White, 0 no. Station MXA, calling Delta White, 0 no.
This is Delta White 0 no to Station MXA. Can you read us?
You're coming in loud and clear.
Council authorizes to continue contact. What is your name and function?
My name's Tanner. Albert Tanner. I'm a chemistry teacher, La Mirada High School.
A scientist?
Yes. Well, kind of, in a way.
We, too, have servants of learning. Did you construct this magnetron channel?
Yes, but I'm afraid it's a bit elementary. I had to use war surplus stuff, and that's never very satisfactory.
Oh. Is there war in your territory at this moment?
Oh, no, Commander. Oh, everything's quite peaceful here.
Good. We're looking for a suitable land space and don't want to arrive in the middle of your hostilities.
Well, you'd be very welcome, Commander. We've plenty of space and open fields all around us. It'd be a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Tanner.
You're welcome, Commander. Might I ask, what is the position of your planet?
Planetoid Delta is 5 light years behind the summer solstice.
I'm afraid I don't understand that.
In elementary mathematical formulae, its gamma is to the power of epsilon to the 7th vector.
Oh, of course. Yes, of course. Now, how is it we haven't observed your planetoid before? I couldn't find you on any of our star atlases.
We're exactly opposite your sun. This would make observation by ordinary optical instruments impossible. But with our magnetic electroscope, we're able to filter out the sol rays and observe you perfectly.
I see. Oh, I see, Commander. When do you expect to arrive?
By your time, late in your so-called afternoon. We shall determine that by later contact.
And, Commander, might I ask a personal question?
Of course.
What do you, what do you look like?
Like all members of the race Delta of the nebulae Ursula, of course. Is there any other way to look?
Mirada Police Department, Sergeant Williams.
This is Tanner, 35 Crescent Heights. My husband just made contact with a Delta Zero something in space. They're going to land this afternoon.
Oh, will you say that a little slower, please?
I said that the men from space are going to land this afternoon. I heard my husband talking to them. They've got to send some policemen out here because of the snow.
Yes, ma'am. Now, take it easy. How did you say your husband got this information?
Through the radio. I mean, he doesn't use radio.
Sure, I understand. These spacemen radioed your husband.
But I keep telling you, I heard them. The door was open. I could hear them very distinctly. Oh, please, you've got to sit down.
Yeah, this sounds like a matter for the Army, Mrs. Tanner. Why don't you call them?
Oh, but I don't know why I can't. All right, I'll call them. Oh, what's their number? Oh, please, hurry.
Well, one moment.
Please, hurry. Are you still there? Please.
It's Mirada 4637.
Yes, thank you. I'll call them right away.
Yeah, you do that, Mrs. Tanner. Yes. They'll take care of it. U.S. Army, Camp Ronald.
Can I speak to something in charge, please? Emergency.
What's it about, please?
We're being invaded by Delta White. I mean, it's spaceships that are coming.
Hold the line, please. I'll give you the duty officer.
Are you still...
Officer of the day, Lieutenant Jacobs.
My name is Mr. Tanner, Mrs. Halbert Tanner, 35 Crescent Heights. Now, please, you've got to just hold it out here right away. My husband is going to...
Oh, that's interesting, Commander. How long have you been in space?
By your time, 5 months. But remember, our speed is twice the speed of light.
Uh-huh. Do you use atomic energy?
Discarded in our bleak age. We use the natural magnetic forces that surround the universe.
Well, what about friction heat caused by your velocity through the atmosphere?
Our speed is adjustable by control of the magnetic fields we ride in. In any case, the disk hull is of traxendium. It's pressured to withstand anything. Anything, that is, but water.
But water? But everything in nature has water. Even the human body is 80% water.
What? You have water in your body?
Yes. It's in different forms, things such as blood or sweat, but it's still water.
Well, thank you for warning us.
What's wrong with water?
To humans, apparently nothing. But to our life form, water is a deadly corrosive.
But our atmosphere contains water.
We know, and have sufficient exterior protection for the moisture of your atmosphere. Did you say your habitation was inland?
Yes, you're perfectly safe, sir. We're over 100 miles from the nearest ocean or river. Now, if you will follow my carrier signal down to the landing, you'll be all right.
Thank you, Tanner. I'll report your assistance to the council. Do you think your authorities will object to our visit?
I'm sure they won't, sir. They'll be honored. We'll all be honored.
Listen, I mean, the bad noise is a joke. Are you not going to help?
Mrs. Tanner, the CEO is away for the weekend, and I've got an appointment. Can't it wait till Monday?
Look, either you send help right away, or I'll send a report of your conduct to my congressman. With a copy to your commanding general.
Yes, Mrs. Tanner. I'll be over.
You really trust that human, Commander?
Oh, there isn't much option. We've orders to carry out. It's an incredible race, but Tanner seems harmless enough.
We're meeting pressure, Riff.
Probably entering the outer atmosphere. Better start degaussing and settle on his carrier.
2700. 02. No change.
Switch on the water oscillograph. Oscillograph on. Variation? None. Good. We'd better check again with Tanner until we see ground. Right away, Riz. Delta to MXA. Delta to MXA. Over.
MXA 2 Delta. You're in, loud and strong.
We're entering your atmosphere.
I'll check your approach on radar and keep tracking you.
We're going off ether. Leave your channel open.
Martha, I thought I told you this.
This is Lieutenant Spencer from Catherine Hotel. I heard you talking to the Delta man, and I was scared.
Your wife was worried, so she wanted me to come over.
Oh, I see. I suppose she told you a story about men from space?
Well, yes, sir.
Oh, all right. You probably think I'm crazy, but you'll see. They're coming in right now, using my channel as a ground approach. You've been through signal school?
I'm from 27 Signal Corps, sir.
I see. Then you'll recognize the equipment.
Something wrong, then. Wrong. Reverse the field. Quickly. Water.
Tanner.
We're approaching waterway. Tanner, cross-check our position. We have a danger reading.
You're heading straight for us, Commander. You're safe. Why, you're perfectly safe.
Check it again.
There's a great deal of water.
Did you check it again?
Yes, I did. There's a great deal of water in it.
Tanner.
A great big body of
There's
water.
water down there. Tanner, our signals are a danger. Strong danger. Cross-check your fix. Counter-reverse the magnet. It's water. It's water. Masses and masses of water. Tanner, we've hit water. It's an ocean. Help! Help! We're burning. Ah!
Delta? Delta! What's happened?
Cross-check their position, sir. The signal's getting weaker, but your fix is right. It's within 100 yards of this set.
Let's get outside. Maybe it crashed into the field.
Where is it? There's nothing out there.
But there must be. Maybe it's crashed into the trees or... Come on, come on.
Albert! Albert! Look! Look!
I'll read it, sir, but I don't...
Go on. Go on.
On Saturday, July 14th at 1400 hours, a telephone call was received from Mrs. Albert Tanner, etc., and so forth. And on going out to the back lot, we could see no sign of the space disc. Our attention was then drawn by Mrs. Tanner to the fish pond from which steam could be seen rising. On inspecting the pond, a small circular object approximately 8 inches in diameter could be seen floating on the surface. On attempting to retrieve the object, it disintegrated as if attacked by a powerful corrosive. End of report.
Well, you forgot about the men inside. You've got to say something about their size.
We never saw them, Mr. Tanner.
Oh, what are you doing? Don't do that! What are you telling me?
Mr. Tanner, I'm doing this for both of us. If I sent in the report, nobody would believe it. It's better this way.
No! It's the truth. You saw it happen. Why, you know it happened.
The only thing I know is there's no proof. As far as I'm concerned, it didn't happen. I never saw anything. I never heard anything. That's going to be my report, Mr. Tanner. No occurrence. Incident closed. Good afternoon, Mr. Tanner. Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you The Invader by Michael Gray, starring Howard McNear. Fay Baker was heard as Martha, with Edgar Barrier as the commander. Featured in the cast were Paul Frees, Peter Lees, Bill Bissell, and Leroy Leonard. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Lee Stevens. Next week, you are on a planet of desolation and utter ruin, awaiting the return of your comrades to carry you to safety, while the remains of life about you, crawling and evil, are slowly hemming you in and ruthlessly tracking you down to your death. So listen next week when Escape brings you Charles Smith's unusual story, North of Polaris.
The everyday grind. Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Convict ship, becalmed in a yellow fog, while somewhere in the dark below you, free from the cells that held them, is a deadly band of murderers seeking out your life.
Listen now as Escape brings you Weston Martyr's exciting story, A Sleeping Draught.
That helps. But it's like I say. You can't forget. You can never forget. It is at night that you think about it. With the water outside rushing past the hull. That's when you think. And it can never be the same. You can't trust anybody. Never. Not a soul. I can tell you, you just can't trust them. Not even yourself. What is it, mister?
Mr. Finch says he's ready to board, sir.
Oh, he is, eh? All right, well, I'm not stopping him.
Sir. He insists on bringing them aboard one at a time.
What? Does he think I'm going to miss the tide? There's over 400 of them. It'll take out.
That's what I said, sir, but he...
Mr. Finch, come aboard if you please.
I'm sorry, sir.
I should have resigned, thinking, filthy poor devil cargo. Everything I cockalorum, Captain? No, everything is not I cockalorum. What in blazes do you mean ordering my mate about?
No offense intended, none taken, I hope.
I want those scurvy wretches aboard now. All of them. You put them below and we'll weigh anchor.
One at a time, sir. One at a time. We've got to search them.
Why didn't you do that before you took them out of jail?
You'd be surprised what those swine can pick up. Between jail and the docks, Captain. We've got to search them one at a time, and that's a fact. They're murdering devils, every last one of them.
Convicts came aboard one by one. I watched them. They were going from London to a land they'd never seen. A colony had bought them. Australia. 400. The sweepings and scrapings sorted out from the muck of the jails, with Finch in charge of them. Oh, I've carried dirty cargo. Dyewood, for instance, crawling with scorpions and spiders, not to mention snakes. Then there's cattle. But this... weeks and months at sea with a human cargo who'd as soon cut your throat as spit. And what made it worse was I felt sorry for the poor beggars. I watched them come aboard until there were two left.
Name? Wilkes. Search him.
Hey, take your bleeding hands off of me. I ain't got nothing. Ain't you stole me last morning?
Shut your door!
That's enough, Finch. I won't have the cat used on my ship. They'll get enough of it where they're going.
You're a trusting soul, you are, Captain. How would you like that between your ribs? The touch of the cat's a lot better than letting this swine bring a knife aboard. Take him below! I don't know how they do it. Well, me, I don't. You got to watch them for knives. Next! Right. Ooh, here's the terror. Look at the size of him. Dangerous swine. 3 murders in Australia. Escaped. He's in Brit when he gets back. Name?
Abbey. Jonathan Abbey.
Abbey. Well, a gentleman in chains. I am sorry, your worship. Forgive us for daring to lay hands on your highness. I'm sure as though you've been wrongly accused.
That's enough, Finch.
Search him, then take him below. I want Mr. Jonathan Abbey shackled. He's a prize. We mustn't let anything happen to him.
From the day we left London docks, I'd taken a violent dislike to Finch. He seemed to be happiest when he was laying about him with his cat on the convicts herded like sheep below decks. He kept them quiet enough. But one night I decided to have it out with him in my cabin. I made it strong, I can tell you, so that even he could understand what I meant.
You all finished, Captain? All right, you hear me out. They're a bad lot. 400 of them, all bound for Australia, and they don't want to go. You follow me? There's that bloke Abbey. As soon as we touch Sydney, the game's up for him. They'll hang him, sure.
That does not mean that you have the right to make life even worse for them here.
Oh, no. If I don't, where do you think we'll be? What would you do if you were down there? I'll tell you. Get hold of this ship. That's what you're doing. It'll be easy.
They're locked in and we've got a guard.
You don't know them like I do. Here's another thing. When I searched them, there was 1 to 5 sovereigns stowed away on every man. Earned or stolen. That'll come to over £1,000 by my figures.
They're entitled to that money. It's little enough to take to a wild country.
But there's them down there what would slit the gullet of any man for a shilling. You asked me to dainty with it.
That's the way he talked to me. And I can tell you I didn't feel easy anymore. I did something I hadn't done for a long time. Brought 2 pistols out from ship's stores and kept them under my pillow. It was when we got around the Horn that the first convict died from scurvy. We had to put him over the side, of course, and there was a lot of grousing. I went down to the hold with Finch. It was hot and stinking.
Now, you let me talk to him, Captain. I'll put it to rights.
You tell him it couldn't be helped.
Don't you mind. I'll tell him.
Oi! Here comes old Bloody Pot. Hi, Finch. Did you steal the clothes off the poor beggar's back before you threw him in?
Men! Men!
We ain't men, dearie. We're dogs, or haven't you Why didn't you wait to bury poor old Smithy in the ground instead of chucking him in the sea?
All right! We've got another 2 or 3 weeks before we reach land. I'll make a bargain with you. The next one that dies, now it's getting nice and hot, I'll leave him down here. And you can take care of him and mourn him until we get to Australia. How's that? Half a crown, you don't keep him for 3 days.
That's old Bloody Pot, always a nose for business.
If you ain't satisfied with that, I'll see that axe is closed down tight for the rest of the voyage. And you can boil for all of me.
That seemed to settle it for a time. I began to see that in spite of Finch's hardness with them, the prisoners knew he was master and behaved themselves. That is, most of them did. But there were others. And that's what began the trouble. We were 2 days out of the Cook Islands when it happened. Yes?
Captain, there's a man on deck. We brought him up from below. It's horrible.
What happened?
One of the convicts, sir.
Oh? Fight, eh?
Yes, sir. Captain. Mr. Darling ain't much of a surgeon, I must say.
Well, I did what I could. He must have been dead before we got him up here.
He's been cut to pieces.
Not half he ain't.
How did it happen?
Well, I heard him shouting. When I went down the hole, there he was, propped up like against the bars, with his arms through, holding him up.
Poor devil.
Who, him? Nah, he's dead. There's others in for it, though.
What do you mean?
How do you think he got cut up like that? Knives, Captain. Knives!
But you searched them before they bolted.
I did, and truth, I don't know how they done it. Small knives, Captain. Small knives. And we're getting close to Australia, that's what it is. Whoever's got them knives is after money. The £1,000 or more what's on this cursed ship.
I don't see...
You're a trusting soul, you are, Captain. Well, maybe there's a dozen of them, maybe 20 with knives. Follow me? They'll run the others and rob them blind. Old sovereign, Captain, you didn't forget, did you? If anybody objects, cut him up in small pieces like this one.
We've got to go down there and put a stop to it.
Yes, I don't think. How many guns you got aboard?
Well, 2 pistols and 4 muskets.
That's a fat lot of good. Oh, well, must take the sweep with us, Sarah. We can try. There's no harm in that. Mark my words, Captain. Before we get to Sydney, all of us will probably have our throats cut. Come on.
Finch and I, with 2 seamen, armed ourselves and went down into the hold and stood outside the bars. Men inside were quiet. Very quiet. They just looked at us, dark-like.
You men!
I'll talk to them. Now, you listen to me. We know some of you are carrying knives. And I want you to throw them out here. Nothing further will be said about it if you do as I say. Well?
Oh, Captain. My porridge wasn't hot enough this morning. And please, can I have sugar in it tomorrow?
That ain't the way to talk to this scum. The captain's a gentleman. I'm not. You know me, don't you?
We know you all right.
You, Abby. You listen to me. I'm giving you until morning to throw them knives out of here. Till morning. If every blasted one ain't out of your dirty hands, I'm going to have you flogged, every bloody one of you. 50 lashes. You hear that, Mr. Abbey?
I'll think about it.
Till morning. Then 50 lashes. You think about that, Mr. Abbey.
Good morning, Captain dear, and Mr. Finch.
You filthy scum, where's them knives?
Where they do the most good.
All right. I've given you a chance. I've played fair.
Mr. Finch, sir, may I have a word with you?
Oh, come back to your senses, have you?
Now, bend close to the bars, because what I got to say, I got to whisper.
What is it? What is it?
Well, now, it goes like this here.
That's an 100 lashes, Will. I'll take you first and handle the cat myself.
Oh, no, sir. Why not take him first? He won't feel it like I will.
The crowd of men parted suddenly, and from out of them was pushed what had once been a man. It fell against the bars, and then, no longer with the support of living arms, it slid to the deck. We looked at him, Finch and me. His life had been worth a sovereign, maybe 2. He hadn't either now, and the knives were still in the hole, with them that had killed him.
We will return to Escape in just a moment, but first, many a baseball manager has felt the need of divine guidance to win the pennant. At least once, the story goes, it actually happened. Hear George Murphy, Janet Leigh, and child star Donna Corcoran in Angels in the Outfield on most of these same CBS radio stations. Enjoy this fabulous comedy at the Star's address tomorrow night on the Lux Radio Theater. And now, back to Escape.
As I sees it, we've got to have a council of war in a manner of speaking.
I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Finch. There'll be no flogging.
I can see you're sharper, you are. No, that's right. Too dangerous. We ain't armed for it. We're in a nasty mood. We've got to be crafty, same as them.
I wish we could spill the old lot of them overboard.
And lose your contract for carrying them? Not bloody likely. Here, listen here. I'll get them knives. Now, it's Abby behind this. He tells them what's what. Get him out and the others will come around. Mark my words.
Are you going into the old?
Not yet. We'll go in there. See? After we cut off their water and food, seal the hatch. You see what happens.
They die.
They'll die from knives then. Which do you want? They'll be begging you to take their ruddy knives in 3 days.
And if they don't?
We'll tell them to hand over Abby to us. That he's the one to blame for their misfortunes. They'll do it.
All right. Is that the only way?
I'll give the order. But not just yet, Captain. We'll let them sit down there and wonder. They wonder what we're going to do about them. Some of them may get nervous. We'll let them wonder a bit.
I didn't see Finch the rest of the day. The barometer had fallen suddenly, and with it came a storm. I can tell you I had my hands full for the next 24 hours. There was no time to worry about what was going on in the hold of the ship, but I didn't think they'd have much stomach for knifing each other and killing. Next morning at breakfast, he didn't turn up at all. We searched the old ship, and then I went down into the hold. And that's where he was. And he hadn't died quickly. Someone had held him against the bars, and the others had... He hadn't died quickly.
Ready for you, Captain.
Who did this? Who did it?
I wouldn't waste sleep warning him, Captain. He was a bully and no better than us, except that he was outside.
Abby? Well, I thought you were shackled.
Yes, I was, but Mr. Finch kindly supplied the key to unfasten me.
You're going to pay for this. All of you. Where are those knives?
In here, Captain. Want to come in and get them?
You'll pay for this.
You're repeating yourself, Captain. Good morning.
Blasted convict had dismissed me like I was a clerk in an office. There wasn't anything I could do about it. With Finch out of the way, they knew I was an easy mark. It was the nights that got on my nerves. I could hear things happening, lots of things. And it was awful. Those devils with the knives. Each morning we'd have to pull out 6 or a dozen, all cut about and bleeding. Most of them died. But those with the knives were getting money they stole from the victims. I began to be afraid of me crewmen, that one would take a bribe and let that murdering crowd out. I walked around with 2 pistols in my jacket all the time. And then, late one afternoon, something very bad happened. I was standing by the wheel.
Captain!
Here, bosun.
He got out, sir.
Got out? Who?
The big one, Abby. 2 of us were standing guard. We heard a scream. It was Abby. Said he'd been stabbed. Benson opened the grill to get in, and Abby bashed him on the head and bolted.
What about the others?
I got the girl closed in time. They're safe enough. He must be somewhere on the ship, sir, unless he went overboard.
Not that one. He's up to mischief. Here, take one of my pistols, mister.
Aye, sir.
And pass out the muskets. I want every inch of the ship searched. If he puts up a fight, shoot him. Do you hear me? Shoot him. The night comes quickly in southern parts. Did you ever try to search a ship at night with lanterns? Not easy. There are too many shadows, too many sounds which could be rats, or a murderer who's bigger than what you are and could choke your life out in half a minute. We couldn't find him, but he was somewhere aboard, waiting his time. Because we were short-handed, what with the crew searching and all, I stood a watch. And I thought about that man whom Finch said had committed 3 murders in Australia.
Don't turn around, Captain. It's only a little knife, but don't move.
What do you want?
A talk?
I've nothing to say to the likes of you, Abby.
That may be, but I have an offer to make you.
You know what I'm in for when we reach Sydney? Finch told me. I've no pity for you, Abby. I'm not asking for pity. I have an offer to make. The men below are planning to take the ship. I don't think they've got a chance, but they'll be killing. Those that have got the knives have got all the money, too. It's £1,200. I'm aware of that, mister. I can get the knives for you. Huh? All I want is a chance to get away before the ship docks. How do I know it's not a trick? Turn around, Captain. Here. My knife. Will that convince you? You must have a pistol. You can shoot me if you want. What makes you think you can get the knives away from them, Abby? I can. That's all you need to know. I couldn't help you openly, you know that. You're put aboard as a murderer, you're in my charge, and it's my job to turn you over to the police as soon as we arrive. Then... if you could get the knives, though, I might be able to give you a chance to clear out. That's all I want. The chance. All right. I must have a pistol. What? A pistol? You take me for a fool? No, it's the only way to get the knives. I give you this pistol, you shoot me down. Not likely. If I'd wanted to do that, Captain, I'd have cut your throat 2 minutes ago. You're a murderer. I know. You can't have it. And it's either them or your ship and probably your life. Well? You talk like a gentleman, Mr. Abbey, but suppose you want my pistol so you can free him. You just have to trust me, as I'd trust you to give me a chance to get away. Oh. Here, take it. What about the guards below? They'll shoot. I'll take you down. I'll say I caught you. How do I get out again when I've got the knives? You send word that you want to see me. All right. Captain, I'm trusting you now. I want that chance to get away. We'll talk about it if you get the knives. Come on, I'll take you below now and come back tomorrow. Keep your voice low, Captain. They think I'm tricking you into making a bargain. They think I stole the pistol. I told them I had to have the knives to make you believe that we wouldn't make trouble. I said we'd take over the ship tonight. What do you want me to do? Leave me the key to the grill. I'll slip out tonight and bring you the knives. Well, they'll want you to let them out, too. I won't. I'll lock it. How do I know you will? You don't. You will have to trust me, Captain. Did they know about this plan, all except for the fact that I'm going to lock them in once I'm out? Give me the knives now. No. They'd know something was wrong. I'd never get out alive. Give me the key. All right, Abby. Here. Tonight. I waited. And I can tell you I didn't like it. The wind came up a bit and I knew that before sunrise we'd be in Sydney. That is, if I could trust a murderer. At 10 o'clock that night, there was a rap on my cabin door. One of your crew nearly caught me coming down here. And I've kept my side of the bargain. The knives are all there. No, you needn't worry. Here's your pistol. You may need it. Thanks. Now, how do I get away? We'll be in port in about 6 hours, if the wind holds. You stay aft in the longboat. When you hear the anchor go, drop over the side and swim for it. I'll try to anchor as close to land as possible before I take it in. If I can land without being seen, I've got some friends who'll hide me. I don't want to know about it. You just remember, when the anchor lets go, that's your signal. Thank you, Captain. I trust you, and I'd like to shake hands with you. I took the hand of the murderer, and we shook hands like old friends. And then he was gone. 2 hours later, the wind went down, and in its place came fog, thick, mucky fog. I had my hands full, what with danger from other ships and the blasted current that knocked you about off the harbour entrance. By 3 o'clock, the fog had shut in properly, and the blessed tide ran us all over the place. But proper dangerous, I can tell you. We were about 15 miles offshore, and I didn't like the look of things. There's shoals thereabout, and so I sent the mate forward to heave the lead. I got a proper start when I heard him sing out,
By the deep fall.
We got off course right enough, and at this rate, we'd shear the bottom clean off her. I thought it was high time to bring the ship up and wait until we could see something.
Let's go the anchor. Let's go the anchor. Give her 35 fathoms to the water's edge, bosun. Aye, sir.
None too soon, sir. She was shoaling fast.
Blasted current must have been making 5 knots out to sea. Listen to her.
She's holding, sir.
The anchor. I forgot. The anchor.
Abby! Abby! Abby!
I went to the longboat. It was empty. He'd heard the signal as the anchor paid out. He couldn't see in the fog, and had gone overboard into a 5-knot tide running straight out to sea, 15 miles from shore. He trusted me. And that's why I tell you, you shouldn't trust anybody. Sometimes it's hard sleeping at night. When you hear the water outside and you think. That's when it's hard to sleep.
Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you A Sleeping Draught by Weston Martyr, adapted by S.A. Bolt, and starring Ben Wright. Featured in the cast were John Dodsworth, Richard Peel, Charlie Lung, Alec Harford, and Eric Snowden. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are traveling east on a cross-country bus, while among your fellow passengers, seemingly innocent and friendly, are a man and a woman who plan to destroy you. You and 150 million of your countrymen.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Anthony Ellis's exciting story, The Biggest Secret in the World. An auto race around the world. Impossible, you say? Well, it really happened in 1908. And tomorrow night, hear Van Johnson star in Around the World, the exciting suspense story of this unbelievable auto race. Van Johnson will be heard with the rest of Suspense's cast direct from the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, where an annual automobile show is taking place. Suspense's production tomorrow night will be a part of the auto show. Don't miss it over most of these same CBS radio stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking. America now rides to the tune of 25 million auto radios and listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy have made another visit to the mysterious Planet X. They have just landed in a robot ship, hoping to thwart an attempt to obtain Space Patrol's secrets. As two men in work clothes approach the ship, Buzz and Happy wait, with ray guns drawn.
Keep behind the bulkhead until we find out whether they're friendly or not.
Yes, sir.
Quiet now. They're at the outer hatch. Don't move, Happy.
Use your gas gun, Malengo.
Commander, I can't see.
Fell right into my trap, Corey. This is your last trip to Planet X.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Trap on Planet X. Hi, Space Patrollers. This is Captain Dick Tufeld speaking. Say, how's your space talk these days? Are you talking like a real space patroller? Well, here's some space talk that'll make your friends sit right up and listen. Fire rockets. Now, fire rockets means to turn on the motor or get ready to go, as in, come on, gang, fire rockets. It's time to go. And here's another way of saying something in space talk. Blast off. Blast off means to take off or leave. You blast off for a game of ball. Blast off to meet a pal. Now, here's space talk you hear space patrollers use every morning. Get supercharged. Now, to get supercharged means to get some zip and wham so you can be a winner. And, gang, here's how you do it. Just have yourself a power breakfast with the super cereals, Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. Best tasting cereals from here to the moon. So, Space Patrollers, get supercharged. Fire rockets, blast off, and I mean to your grocers for Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. And remember, inside every package, you get a mysterious magic space picture. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Trap on Planet X. Commander Corey is facing the greatest problem of his career. His archenemy, Prince Baccarati, has established an empire on Planet X, a strange world, far beyond the solar system, where no planets were thought to exist. Fortified by almost impregnable detection and defense systems built by the evil scientific genius Dr. Malengro, Baccarati planned to launch an attack against the United Planets. Buzz and Happy dealt the Prince a temporary setback, but the actual fate of Baccarati and Malengro still is in doubt. Buzz realizes the criminal leaders from the self-styled Prince assembled on Planet X may continue Baccarati's plans for enslavement and conquest. Now, in his central office on Terra, Buzz reviews his strategy with Cadet Happy.
At this stage of the game, Happy, Baccarati's forces hold the trump cards. The Space Patrol couldn't get within 1 million DUs of Planet X without being discovered.
Well, with Baccarati himself out of the way, sir, maybe his men will give up this idea of conquering the United Planets.
Trouble is, we don't know for certain whether Baccarati is out of the way. All we know is that he turned his plaster gun on Malengro and himself and plunged down into the river at the base of his castle.
I don't see how they could help being drowned, even if the fall didn't hurt them.
We don't know what effect that plaster gun has. It coats its victim with a shell of plastic. We saw that. But it makes the victim temporarily helpless. At the same time, it might protect him.
Yeah, that's right. Well, still, I'd hate to be in that fix. Floating down a river on Planet X, unable to swim. And remember those monsters we saw in the jungle. Well, there's no telling what's in that river.
Even leaving Baccarati out of it, a full-scale attack on Planet X wouldn't be a wise solution. Baccarati has abducted hundreds of innocent people from the United Planets. He's forcing them to work for him. That's the chief reason we can't risk an all-out attack.
Well, how are we going to save them?
Well, that's problem number one. It's not a job for a space fleet. A few men infiltrating into Baccarati's strongholds, into the slave camps in the north, into the castle, into his plants.
That isn't going to be easy.
No. And once they're in, they'll be useless unless we can communicate with our forces on the outside.
Well, I'd like to take another crack at it, sir.
So would I. But it's something we can't rush into, Happy. One wrong move could cost the lives of innocent people. I want to have a talk with Lieutenant Simmons and then outline a plan of action.
Meanwhile, billions of miles away on Planet X, a strange creature stands on the bank of a river and peers intently at two figures stiffly floating downstream. The man on the riverbank is huge, nearly 7 feet tall, and his rugged frame is loosely draped with the skin of an animal. To this primitive native of Planet X, the figures in the water are objects of wonder. Slowly, his lips move in response to the thought that forms in his not-too-active brain.
Sky men. Sky men.
The next instant, the native plunges into the water. Sky men. The men who arrived many seasons ago in great monsters. Men with powerful weapons. Men who built huts of stone that towered into the mists. But why were these 2 skymen floating down the river, so strangely stiff and still? The native swims toward them, then, one at a time, tows them to shallow water, and one under each powerful arm, he carries them up on the bank. The men seem coated with something shiny and hard and transparent. But as the native watches in surprise, the shiny covering cracks and falls away. The men move. The native steps back, half frightened, half curious. And one of the skymen speaks.
Well, are you all right? Yes, Your Highness. But I don't like the looks of that native.
Don't worry. I got my plastic gun ready. I can turn him into a 7-foot statue if he starts anything. But don't show any fear. Remember, we are superior beings.
Are you sure there's enough plastic left in the gun to cover a man of that size?
Keep quiet. Let me do the talking. You there. What's your name?
I, Goro.
We're in luck, Malengo. For a minute I was afraid he was one of those wild ones that our men had been taught to speak English. Goro, I'm the chief of the Skymen, Prince Baccarati.
Goro, kneel before your prince. He is your chief.
Chief.
All right, Goro. You may rise.
Skymen live in air and in water?
We are all powerful, Goro. The Skymen can do anything.
Skymen all powerful.
Send him away, Your Highness. Let's get back up the river to the castle.
We may need him. We may run into some unfriendly natives, and Goro will confront him.
Yes, you are right, Your Highness.
Goro, you come with me. Your chief will give you fine clothes like these. You will eat the food of the Skymen. And Goro will become all-powerful like the Skymen.
Goro eat food of Skymen?
Of course. And everyone will say, there is Goro, honor guard of Prince Baccarati. Come, Goro. Lead the way to my castle.
I obey, Chief.
Come on, Malengo.
Your Highness, do you think Corey could get away from the castle?
I doubt it. When we get back, we'll put some pressure on the commander. He can tell us many things that will help further my plans for conquering the universe. The fools! The stupid fools!
What's the trouble, Your Highness?
Those guards, they let Corey and the cadet get away. What? Yes! They got back through the jungle to their ship and blasted off.
That means he'll be back with a fleet of ships.
Corey's too smart to try that. He knows we could destroy every ship he sends against us.
But if he thinks we were drowned when we jumped into the river, won't he assume your empire will fall apart?
Now, Corey doesn't jump to conclusions. He'll try something, that's certain. Now, if we could only force his hand. Get him back here. Alone. Oh, by the way, Malengo, how's Dr. Rainey coming along with that brain of rat?
I'll check right after we get back to the castle, Your Highness. He hasn't quite finished it yet.
Well, can't you hurry him up?
He's resisting our persuasive methods. He keeps falling unconscious for pain.
Stubborn fool. Once we get that brainograph working, we can take all these captured scientists and technicians and find out exactly what the Space Patrol has to use against us. Every fact these men know will be revealed by the brain.
We can break Dr. Rainey down, but it will take a little more time.
How I'd like to use that brainograph on Corey. Then we know every weapon, every plan the United Planets could bring against us.
Yes, Your Highness. But Corey isn't here. He's probably back on Terra.
Well, we'll bring him here. I've got just the plan. I'll need a special robot ship and your help, Malengo.
Back at Space Patrol headquarters on Terra, the Spaceophone monitoring section has picked up a strange message, repeated over and over. Within a few moments, the message is piped into Commander Corey's office as Buzz and Happy listen intently.
I warn you,
plan will be dangerous, but it is the only way to penetrate Prince Baccarati's defenses. This is the voice of Professor Ramey speaking from a continuous recording tape on board a Baccarati robot patrol ship. The message will be repeated in just a moment.
Smoking rockets, Baccarati captured Professor Ramey, too.
Outstanding brainograph expert.
Oh, gee, if Baccarati gets the brainograph...
Well, at least I'm glad to hear the professor's alive. The report was that he crashed on Neptune.
That's the 9th top scientist Baccarati was...
Space Patrol
Hold
Unit.
it, Happy. The message is...
The United Planets are in danger. This is Professor Bernard Ramey of the Space Patrol Electronics Bureau. I am held captive by Prince Baccarati on a planet far beyond the solar system. No ship can approach this planet without being detected by Baccarati's defense system.
You can say that again.
Only Baccarati's own ships can penetrate the electronic shield. I have succeeded in hiding the recording device in this ship, which is of class G, type R134. A ship of this type could get through the electronic field if it emits a steady signal on a frequency of 231.6 megacycles. I warn you, the plan will be dangerous.
Cut it off, Happy.
But it is the only way...
So that's the key to the shield. A signal at 231.6 megacycles.
I wonder what happens if you're off the beam a few cycles.
The ship is destroyed, probably. Well, it looks as though Professor Ramey has given us the chance we were waiting for. Yes, Happy. Call Space Patrol Operations. Order a Class G, Type R134 robot spaceship with auxiliary controls. We're blasting off the planet.
I've picked up a robot ship on the viewscope, Your Highness. Is it one of ours?
It looks like it. But all of ours are accounted for.
Well, and then Corey fell for it. He thought that was Professor Ramey's voice.
The brainograph should be ready in a few hours, Your Highness.
Oh, Ramey finally cracked, eh?
No, but our engineers figure they'll be able to complete the brainograph now with no further help from the professor.
Excellent. Now, Malengo, we'll just wait patiently until Corey enters out.
Well, I guess we've fooled Baccarati so far, Commander. At least he hasn't hurled any meteors at our robot.
Well, we're safe from meteors now, Happy. We're too close to the planet.
There's Baccarati's castle in the viewscope, Commander.
All right, Happy. Put on the special frequency.
Yes, sir.
Make sure it's exactly 231.6 megacycles.
Oh, I have it tuned in exactly, sir. That's it, sir.
In a few seconds, we'll know whether it gets us through the electronic shield.
It worked, sir.
Keep away from the viewports, Happy. We're coming in for a landing. Now we'll wait here in the ship till it gets dark. And we'll make an attempt to get inside the castle.
Suppose someone comes out to inspect the ship.
Yeah. 2 men are coming toward the ship now.
Yeah. In work clothes.
Whether they're friendly or not, it's a break. You can borrow their clothes. Keep behind the bulkhead until they're well inside the ship. Have your ray gun ready.
Yes, Commander.
Quiet now, Hank.
Use your death gun, Malengo. Quickly.
It's Baccarati.
Let him have it, Hank. I can't see. Can't either. Let the cadet, Malengo.
I've got him, Your Highness.
Oh, take that ray gun, Corey. You might as well stop struggling, Corey. That toxic gas made you as weak as a kitten.
Where is Professor Ramey?
Oh, don't try to talk, Commander. Unless you're wearing gas masks. Like Dr. Malengo and myself, you'll only suffer all the more from the toxic gas.
For your information, Commander, that wasn't Professor Ramey's voice you heard. It was mine. A good impersonation, don't you think?
That's right, Corey. The professor was busy completing a brainogram. And we are going to use it on you to find out all the Space Patrol secrets.
After you recover from the toxic gas, of course.
Yes, you can recuperate in the dungeon, Corey. And just wait till you see your guard. He's a nice little fellow named Goro. You'll be safe with Goro. Very safe.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, what kind of fuel are you filling up with at breakfast? Ordinary fuel? Well, I hope not. Because remember, in the morning, you haven't had anything to eat for hours. That means your fuel tank needs super fuel, like Rice Chex and Wheat Chex, those super cereals. A good Chex breakfast, and boy, you're supercharged. You feel like a million, rugged as Buzz Corey himself. Your motor kicks over, your rockets start roaring, your atomolites start blinking, and man, that's it. You take off, and I mean you take off like nobody's business. And say, gang, with Chex, you've got a couple of cereals that taste terrific. And both have that modern, bite-sized design for eating that's easy and fun. That's Chex for you. Easy eating, good eating. So remember, gang, when you pull up to your breakfast table, it's just like pulling up to a filling station. You're there for fuel, super fuel. So tomorrow morning, say to your mom, fill her up, Mom, Chex. Yes, get 'em today, gang. Chex, rice or wheat. And remember, inside of every package, you get a mysterious magic space picture. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Trap on Planet X. Simulating the voice of the captured scientist, Prince Baccarati's henchman, Dr. Malengro, has tricked Commander Corey and Cadet Happy into returning to Planet X. The Space Patrolmen passed safely through the deadly electronic shield over the castle by means of a secret frequency on their robot spaceship transmitter. But after landing, Buzz and Happy were captured by Baccarati and Malengro. Right now, they're locked in a cell in the castle dungeon with a huge native Goro standing guard outside.
Doesn't look very bright. I can't always tell by appearance. I wonder if he realizes that Baccarati is making slaves out of some of the other natives, his own people.
Good point. Let's see, what's his name? Goro, isn't it?
Yes,
Goro. Goro, I'd like to talk to you a minute.
What you want?
I'm your friend. I want to help you, Goro.
Skyman Chief, friend. You not friend.
Skyman Chief?
Baccarati. Goro, listen. This fellow you call Skyman Chief is Prince Baccarati. He's making slaves of your people. He makes them work underground in the mines. You understand?
Skyman Chief give Goro food. Chief friend, you bad Goro no.
Goro, if you'll help us out of here, we'll see that you get better food than Baccarati ever gave you.
Skyman Chief all powerful. You not powerful. How can you give food?
There's no fool, Happy. You just can't think any farther ahead of the next meal.
Speaking of food, I wish Baccarati would show us with some chow. Hey, I just remembered. I think it's here in my jacket pocket.
What?
Some space rations. Yeah, I've got a bar of Ration G here. Baccarati missed it when he frisked me.
Take off a small piece of it, Happy.
Yes, sir. Here.
Here you are, Goro. Taste it.
That's not food. Goro man, not small bird.
Go on, reach your hand to the bar. Just try it.
Goro, try.
Oh, look at the size of that hand. It'll barely go through the bars.
Good. Good.
Like it, Goro?
Goro want more.
Commander, look out. He's trying to grab you.
More food. More food.
Hold on, Goro. Take it easy. Open the door and let us out. You can have the whole bar.
More food.
You understand? Open the door.
More.
Goro, wait a minute. Be quiet.
He really goes for it, but he's so excited he's nearly out of his mind.
Doesn't know how to open the door, Happy. Not with the regular controls, anyway. Put the ration bar on the floor near the back of the cell, but where Goro can see it. I'll come over here by the door.
More.
Goro, hold it. Listen to me.
More food.
Now, there's your food back there. We want you to have it. Just open the door. Pull on the bars. Bend the bars. Put your hands on them and pull. Harder, Goro. That's it.
Oh, he's bending them.
You're getting it, Goro. There goes the door. And here comes Goro. Come on, Hap, let's go.
Goro like he's better than Skyman Chief. Oh, Skyman Goro.
Down this part, Happy for the stairs. I only find Baccarati before a guard finds her.
How many more flights is it to the tower, sir?
Take a look at that door there, quickly. Put your hand over his mouth, Happy. Yep. Now let's get him in here. I've got his gun, Happy. Let go of him. Yes, sir. Corey, how did you get out of that cell? Never mind the landing. Where's Baccarati? Come on, where is he? He's up in the tower. Alone? Tell me the truth, Malengro. He's with some engineers. How about Professor Raymond? Where's he got him? Down at the end of the hall. Locked him in the balloon. All right, get in. Lead the way and don't try anything. This is it. Unlock the door. Shut the door, Happy, and keep Malengo covered.
Yes, sir.
Professor Rainey. Malengo, what have you done to him?
Dr. Riley was a little rough with him. He wrecked the brain again. Months of work ruined.
The professor's coming too, sir.
Professor?
Quick, Commander, Malengro's getting away.
Get him, Happy.
Yes, sir. That takes care of him.
Good. Professor Rainey.
It won't do you any good, Dr. Riley. Commander Corey.
Yes.
Dr. Potty's been forcing me to build a brain again. When I heard he tricked you into coming here, I left.
Yes, I know. Professor, we haven't much time. We've got to get out of here. Can you walk?
I think so.
Dr. Roddy gave you quite a beating. Do you know of any places where we could get a ship?
Roddy's spaceship factory. That's too far away. Besides, it has an electronic shield around it, too.
Well, at least once we get out of the castle.
Wait a minute. There's a robot testing field on the other side of the valley.
Does it have an electronic shield over it?
Not ordinarily. One can be set up if strange ships are sighted in the region of the planet. Ordinarily, it's kept open for tests.
Can you show us how to get out of the castle?
The gates have electronic locks. Only Baccarotti's men have keys.
Malengo must have one. Search him, Pepper. Yes, sir. Professor, how far is it across the valley to the testing field?
I don't know exactly. Around 5 miles, I think.
Do you feel strong enough to make it?
I think I can make it, Commander.
Then come on. We'll tie Malengo up and gag him so he can't come to inside.
What happened to you? Where's the professor? Oh, some minute. Hold still till I get the deck out of your mouth and untie you.
Corey did it. He caught me in the hall.
Corey! How do you think you're out of the dungeon? Never mind. Where's Professor Rainey?
I don't know. But the deck knocked me out. When I came to, I was tied up. It escaped your hand.
I can see that. We'll have the castle searched from bow to the dungeon. We'll send guards outside the castle. You and I will lead the search from the air. Come on, man.
The test port is right up ahead, sir. You can see a ship through the trees.
Hold it, Happy. Don't let everyone see you. We're almost there, Professor.
Got to stop a moment.
That's all right. Take your breath. We may have to make a rush for a ship.
I don't see anyone at this side of the field, Commander. There's some men working on a ship about 300 yards down to the right there.
We can't afford to make a mistake now.
Commander, those aren't all robot patrol ships. Some of them are battle cruisers.
You're right, huh?
These are what Baccarotti is turning out at his factory several hundred miles from here. They must have been brought here for a test.
Hey, they're as big as our space patrol battle cruisers.
From their looks, they could make a good account of themselves.
They've all got the black Falcon painted on them. Baccarotti's insignia.
So they're here for a test, huh? All right, let's test one. Ready, Professor Rainey?
Yes, Commander.
Let's make a rush for the nearest one. Come on.
The velocity down, Malengo. Remember, this is a spaceship, and Corey is on foot.
I'm trying to cover as much ground as possible, Your Highness. If we circle the castle several times, we can pick them up in the ground scan.
Where could they have gone? They're not in the castle. No one saw them go through the gate.
Look, over there at the test.
I see it. It's one of my new battle cruisers taking off.
Why, Your Highness? They just arrived today from your plant to the north. Weren't your orders to relieve test facility to be grounded until you inspect them tomorrow?
Huh? Yeah, that's right. Well, wait till we locate Corey. Then I'll find out where that upstart pilot is. Look at my ship, Malengo. 2 complete squadrons lined up.
They are quite beautiful, Your Highness.
Yes. After months of planning, they're almost ready. Ready to make a surprise attack on the space patrol. If the test is successful tomorrow, I'll give the command to wipe out Jupiter.
Look at that ship circling back over the field.
If the big Jupiter base out of the battle, I can conquer the outer planet. What's happening over there?
Explosion at the test port. One of your ships blew up on the ground.
My ship! Malengo, what's happening? That pilot, that crazy pilot, he's tracing my ship with a space cannon. Hurry! Malengo is Corey in that ship. Get him! After him! That's the command!
Your Highness, the scouts are unarmed.
My feet! Look at my feet! Destroyed! Go to the tower! Freeze the electronic shield! Go to the tower! And the necklace! This was the gas!
Well, I think that does it, sir. Everything in the test field, at any rate. That's what the infrared viewscope shows.
Take Baccarati months to build another.
Happy, keep at low altitude till we get to the opposite side of Planet X, then blast off into space. And that way we can dodge any of Baccarati's defense rays.
Yes, sir. You've given Prince Baccarati a severe setback, Commander.
Yeah, and with one of his own ships. A setback isn't enough, gentlemen. As long as Planet X is a menace to freedom-loving people anywhere in the universe, then Prince Baccarati can count on meeting me again.
A preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure follows in just a moment. Gang, this is Captain Dick Tufeld at an Aqua Jet boat race on Mars. My favorite's the Shooting Star. But hey, it doesn't have a chance. The driver is filling up the tank with ordinary fuel. You see what I mean? No zip, no zoom, no zing. Hey, but wait. Now the driver's putting in some super fuel. Wow, look at the Shooting Star go. It's bound to be a winner now because she's supercharged. Supercharged with super fuel. Now, you want to be a winner too, don't you, gang? Then remember, ordinary fuel, ordinary start. Super fuel, super start. So don't wait. Get supercharged. And I mean get supercharged the way Buzz Corey does. Eat a power breakfast with Rice Chex. Flavor, man, and bite size. Crisp, triple toasted shredded rice biscuits. That's Rice Chex. And inside every package, you get a mysterious magic space picture. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are trying to make their way through a strange valley filled with weird and poisonous plants. Suddenly, Happy trips and falls.
Commander, something's got my foot. It's the vines. They're growing tight like ropes. Winding around me, too. I can't get them untangled. Maybe we can cut them loose. Yeah. Hey, it's grabbed my arm. I can't move. And the leaves have got suckers on them. Hap, we've got to get loose. These vines are man-eaters.
Be sure to join us again next week for the thrilling story of Valley of Dread, when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Wilson again present Space Patrol! Special bulletin for boys and girls in Cleveland, Ohio, and Rochester, New York. Buzz Corey's own space battle cruiser, the Ralston Rocket, will be in your area next week. Don't miss it. The Ralston Rocket. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Devery. Other players were Bela Kovach, Ken Mayer, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Wilson again present Space Patrol! Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.